I'm a CO being attacked by 2 inmates. I hit the button and nobody comes?
Correct. I was illegally medically terminated. I don't make enough money or have enough money if I live long. I'm gonna have to work till I die.
Right.
And I needed some kind of pension or something. And so I ran into some guys, some correction officers, and they're telling me all the money they're making and that there's no age limit. And I'm like, you serious?
How old were you?
I was 44.
Really?
Yeah. And everything they said checked off. And I applied, and here I am.
So did you have to go to like a school or something?
No. I mean, they hire you. They
just show up the day. They give you a badge?
You have to, you have to take a test.
Okay.
You have to pass a background check, drug tests. They physically check you to see. You have to do some physical stuff, which is all relatively easy.
Mm-hmm.
But they go through your phone.
Right.
You have to get naked in front of them to make sure that you're not coming in pre-injured.
Right.
With injuries that you're not disclosing. And then they give you a starting date on the start of the academy. And
yeah, that's what I meant, the academy. Like you have to go, you have to go, that's training.
Yeah. This is the pre-hire stuff that I was just talking about.
Right.
And then the academy is 5.5 months long for us.
Fuck. Do you get paid?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get paid.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, you get paid. I mean, they beat the hell out of you, demean you. In the beginning, teach you a lot of rules and regulations. I mean, there is so much stuff there that people don't realize how much trouble we can get, us as officers can get in for not even turn a blind eye to some stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Cell doors don't work over there. It's insane. They don't tell you that in the academy.
Right.
And all of a sudden, like, hey, Matthew Cox just got jumped in his cell. What the hell's going on? Oh, Nick, it's your fault. You know, cell doors weren't secured. Tag, you're it. Suspension.
Okay.
So you better, when you're in that academy, you better pay attention to when, especially the rules and regs part. The physical stuff is whatever. It's physical.
Right. You know. So once you graduate the academy, I mean, they don't just throw you into a unit.
Yes, they do.
No, do they?
Yeah.
You don't have like a somebody that watches you for a little bit?
No, part of the academy, at least in mine, now they've trimmed it down. In my academy, we had 4 weeks of what's called OJT, on-the-job training. And so that's when they sort of throw you to the wolves, but not completely, because they'll put you in a housing area where you get the nice guys, the compliant guys. So someone like yourself who's non-violent.
Somebody's not going to throw feces on you.
Right, yeah, exactly. So they're going to be all polite and stuff. And I remember my first day, I'm like, I called my girlfriend when I got out of there. I'm like, oh, sweetie, the media, they are, Trump is right. They are fake news. They make Rikers Island seem like this place is full of animals.
Right.
Well, because day one, I'm there with the guys who are scammers, so everybody's polite, well-groomed, no one's cursing at you, throwing feces, nothing like that. And I'm like, what's going on here? This is not the Rikers Island. This is not the job that I signed up for. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, the media made it sound like this place was a zoo. It wasn't. Reality check.
How long till you get to one of those units?
Day two.
But
even there, they don't send you to what like the high classification guys, because you just don't have the training and the experience to go out there or even know what the hell you're doing.
Right.
To deal with those guys, and they know those guys are savages, as sharks. They can smell the newness in you, and they'll take advantage of you immediately. I mean, like blood in the water. I mean, you know that.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah. No.
They could tell with the shiny shoes, the new belt, the shield. Actually, no. At the academy, we didn't have the shields yet. But a lack of a shield, they're like, oh, this is like a substitute teacher. Yeah. Hey, fellas, party is on.
So what? How long do you work there? I mean, how long?
I was there for 3.5 years before I was illegally medically terminated.
You ever read a headline and think, wait, that's not what I read earlier? Or hear a story that was covered 2 totally different ways and think, I wonder which one's telling the truth?
We all know the news can be biased. Algorithms push stories that they think you want to see, and some outlets spin stories to fit a certain agenda. It's exhausting trying to figure out what's real, what's exaggerated, and what's just straight up misinformation. That's why I use Ground News. It's a news platform that doesn't just show you the headlines, it shows you the whole story. It gathers articles from across the political spectrum, tells you the bias of each source, and even lets you compare how different outlets are framing the same event. For example, the recent federal health agency layoffs. Left-leaning news described the layoffs as a major crisis, calling them a bloodbath that could harm important public health work like tracking diseases. On the other hand, right-leaning news saw the layoffs as positive change. They called it a win-win for taxpayers, which could save $1.8 billion a year. Both sides agree the layoffs and changes were happening, but they strongly disagree on what it meant. Ground News lets you compare these side by side so you can actually see the bias and decide for yourself what to believe. You can also see things like how news sources are covering a particular story, political leaning of news outlets, and the blind spot feed where you can see stories that are disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. In a world of clickbait and echo chambers, having access to all perspectives is more important than ever. That's why I love Ground News. It helps me cut through the noise and stay truly informed. And right now you can get 40% off the Vantage plan for unlimited access. Just hit the link in my description, ground.news/inside, and start seeing the news differently today.
I can't wait for my day in court. I could talk about it freely on this podcast because everything I say, I have the paperwork, everything lines up to everything I'm saying. Cities, all they're doing is just delaying, because my foot's on their throats.
Right.
And there's no way they can get out of it. And I can't wait until somebody takes a stand right there in front of a jury and faces me and my attorney on what happened there.
Well, what do you want to
ask me anything you want to know? Ask me anything.
What happened?
Well,
You're working there.
I'm working there. Everything's fine. I'm breaking up a fight. This is during COVID, so now we have a severe staffing shortage. We have staffing shortages constantly because of gross mismanagement,
right,
of nepotism. All of that's flooded like cancer throughout the department. But on top of that, combine that with COVID, where we were the epicenter of COVID-19 in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
We were letting guys go because of the COVID-19 because you were high risk. Oh, you're 50 years old? Yeah, as long as you're not in there for murder. All right, something less? A little less? Oh, we'll let him go because he's high risk.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they were doing that in the federal system too. They let thousands and thousands of inmates go. Yeah, they just sent them home on an ankle monitor. Like, you're over 50 years old and you have diabetes or something, or you know, you have breathing issues or whatever it is, you know, and you're high risk and you've got 10 years left to go. Fuck it, send them home.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers because obviously I didn't have access to that information, but they were doing basically the same thing.
Right.
So I'm breaking up this fight. Surprisingly, it's a 1-on-1 by themselves, bare knuckles. Nobody's helping. I mean, nobody's jumping in. It was personally, I think that they were former lovers or something.
Right. Okay.
No, I do, because it wasn't just like typically a fight is me and you, we fight over a bag of potato chips or the TV or phone time or something, you know, boom, boom, boom. No, these two wanted to keep going. This whole fight lasted 32 minutes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
A 3-minute fight is a long time.
Right. 32 minutes. I sprayed him. And one of the persons, the bigger guy, he was like a boxer. Mm-hmm. The way he moved and everything. And even when the other one would try to spit, he was so fast, he was dodging even the spit. I'm like, oh shit. And he got what the department calls the desired results.
Of the pepper spray?
Right, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
he screamed and hit the ground.
He screamed and hit the ground and ran to his buddies on the back end of the tier. But the other one was part of the LGBT community transitioning. So I think that's the one that when I sprayed him or her, whatever you want to call, had no effect. None.
Are the LGBTQ, are they immune?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like the hormones or the shots or even maybe what drugs they were taking. Totally immune. I mean, the eyes did not even get red.
I see you spraying this guy and he's like, you know, with waters like.
No. The other one gave me nothing but headaches. Mind you, this person was hanging out with me for like an hour, just talking to me by my desk.
After or before?
No, before.
Okay.
You know, it's just a regular conversation from the Bronx, in there for triple murder. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, telling me a little about the details of the case. And I'm like, oh, geez, get comfortable.
It sounds like both those people had it coming.
Right.
They disrespected me.
No, it wasn't even like
No?
that. No, I don't want to get too much details of it because I know the people from the city are going to be watching. I don't want to affect that person's case.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not here for that.
So what happened? So you sprayed the one guy. He's loving it. I mean, the one guy runs off. He takes off. The other guy is totally immune.
Totally immune. And I have a foreign last name.
Right.
So a lot of people felt like they would disrespect me if they mispronounced it, even though I told them how to say it, which is fine. I dealt with it all my life. So it's not news to me that someone misspells or mispronounces my name. So everybody calls me G, even my captains and wardens, everybody. G, 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 G. It's like, yo, G, get the fuck out the way. I don't want to hurt you. Well, this person one-on-one can't hurt me unless they get me from behind or something, you know? I'm like, listen, I'm not letting you guys keep fighting.
Right.
My job is to break this up. There's no way. I mean, if you got to run through me, boom, boom, boom. Did it several times. I'm pushing her away, and there's a door that divides the tier, and I didn't even know that there was a chain on it. Like, it's actually chained open.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I had no idea because no one ever opens or closes that door, not once, ever. So I'm like, okay, I pushed her away, and I'm like, okay, let me slam this door shut.
There's a chain,
and I'll just wait. There's a fucking chain.
Okay.
I didn't know. So, but I know now. But then I'm like pulling. I look up, and I thought the gate, the door was jammed against something in the ceiling. I'm looking up. By the way, Matt, all of this is on camera.
Right.
There is footage of this the whole time, and I've seen it. And I'm looking up. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Why doesn't this door close? You see me climbing, sort of like Spider-Man, holding on to the thing, just trying to pry it. I look down. The chain is at the bottom.
Okay.
And the chain's as thick as my forearm. Okay, well, guess what? I'm not winning that battle. And I had a captain and an officer on the bridge. With this thing called the bridge. So basically, when you're leaving your housing area to go get your methadone or go see the doctor or lawyer or visits, there's a small area called the bridge, about the size of a small car, about like the size of a Toyota Corolla. That's where the officers are supposed to pat frisk you and check you before you go on out into the rest of the building. And so they were escorting what we call a red ID. A red ID is a person that was either highly violent, had brought contraband in. So this person needs, quote unquote, extra attention.
Right.
Yeah. Pay attention to this one here. So they're paying attention to that. But that person's on the bridge by themselves with two officers, a captain and an officer. They could have came in and helped, but no, they stood there, arms against the doors, stood there watching the whole time. Again, this is all on camera. I need DOC to explain this in court.
Right.
Yeah.
Why didn't they come in?
I never spoke to them. By the way, I've never seen that captain or officer before that day or after, ever.
Okay.
So I don't know. It was like, hey, dude, I'm not mentioning names, but yeah, do you remember Captain So-so? Like, no, who's that? I'm asking also, I don't know.
Okay, so what happens with the guy that's trying to get through you and the chain on the door? What happens? Like, how do you keep him separated from the other guy?
Well, that's what I did for 32 minutes. Just this person would just sort of like a football player. I know you're not into sports and stuff.
Yeah.
Like when they try to break the to get that touchdown.
You're just pushing him back for 30-something minutes.
And just prying them apart, because it was the 32 minutes is also part of me prying them apart in the beginning.
Okay.
And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna spray. I'm trying to do everything not to spray because it's gonna get on me too,
right? As
well as the other inmates, because it's not like ventilation is very good in there.
Yeah.
Just like anything else, nothing's good in there. And I'm hitting the alarm. No backup. You know why? Mismanagement.
Well, doesn't the alarm button go to everybody?
No, it's called a PBA, personal body alarm.
Right. So doesn't everybody get notified? There's a guy.
Correct.
There's a because We used to call it the deuces. He hit the deuces.
Okay.
And have you ever heard that term? No.
No.
In the federal system, they hit the deuces, which means, and as soon as they just had like a little red button on the radio, they hit that button.
Yeah.
And you could immediately they start screaming lockdown.
Right.
And everybody, out of every single unit, every guard in every single unit runs full blast out of their unit and converges on that one spot. You would see 20, 30 guards running across the compound towards that unit. And they would rush straight up the stairs or straight in the door and run straight to them. I mean, it wasn't probably 20 seconds before at least the first guard gets there. Because you have to think some people are closer.
Right.
Within a minute, everybody on the compound's there. Swarming in, screaming a lockdown, they've pulled you apart. There's no way. It wouldn't even take a full minute. Like I said, probably 15, 20 seconds before the first 2 or 3 guards even run it. Because they're only that far away.
Right.
So they hit the button, hit the deuces, and you hear lockdown, lockdown. You can immediately look up and see doors, bam, bam, and guards just fucking full blown running. Because if you didn't run, you're fired.
Right.
Like nobody's walking.
That's the way it's supposed to be. Matt, being that this whole incident, everything's on surveillance, that what you just described is the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
That place is, wherever location you were at, was managed properly and the rules were enforced.
Right.
The exact opposite happens at my building, AMKC.
Okay.
If you're walking the halls and those red lights start coming on, you're supposed to do exactly that. You're supposed to go suit up, put on a turtle suit, and go out there. Still you're not running in like I've seen what you just described, where guys are just coming in like
blind.
Balls on, blind. Yeah. No, that's not happening there. No, that's not. That's not even procedure. So our procedure is when that light is on, the red light, you run to the front, you suit up. It's called suit up, and then we all go in as a unit. And believe me, they're not running out there the way you described. Yeah. They are marching slowly.
Yeah, these guys aren't waiting for there's no suit. They're coming straight in.
And that's for the people who actually suit up. Again, you know how many people pass by the other thing and say, fuck it, I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm not. That all comes down to management. That's gross mismanagement. And again, it's on camera.
Right.
The whole thing. That's why I feel like people are like, oh, you feel so confident. How can I not be? It's all on camera. They have to explain this in court.
Yeah.
So, they have this thing becomes technical. So I, almost have to think like a lawyer, which I know you do. So I get.
Do I? What do you call me? What do you think?
Yeah.
Think like a fucking idiot sometimes, but okay. No, listen, trust me. People are constantly. It's kind of like the asshole thing, where it's like, I'm like, if 50 people call you an asshole, you're probably an asshole, know. But I mean, and people are constantly doing the whole like, you're super smart, and I'm always like, am I? Like I feel like I'm fucking. I'm kind of a tard sometimes. Like I lose my car when I leave the restaurant. Like where do we park? Like I have no idea like that. But everybody keeps saying that, so I'm gonna go with I'm with you. I like that version better.
Yeah, but it's accurate. Trust me, it's coming from me.
Okay, it's got to be true.
Yeah, so certified.
Right.
Yeah.
Certified.
No, in all honesty, no. But you are a smart guy. Listen, to do what you did, you have to be smart. Now, smart people sometimes fuck up. They have weaknesses.
Keep all this in there.
Smart doesn't mean perfect. Exactly. Smart is not perfect. Yeah. So you are a smart guy.
Yeah. Overconfidence.
Huh?
It's overconfidence. You screw up sometimes. You get overconfident.
But that's why there's pencil. That's why there's races on pencils, because everybody makes mistakes somewhere at some point.
That's why there's prisons.
That's it.
So what happens? So these guys. So nobody's coming.
Nobody's coming. No. Eventually, I do get one guy who comes in, and I know
by accident.
someone who actually does his job.
Right.
No, and he came in.
How many guards are here? Are in the vicinity? How many COs are in the basic general vicinity?
Not many.
Okay, 10.
No, they're not allowed to leave their post. The ones that are in the vicinity, no, you cannot abandon your post, period, under any circumstance.
I'm a CO. So being attacked by 2 inmates, I hit the button. No, these guys aren't allowed to leave their post to come.
Correct. So I'll give you a scenario. No, I'm telling you black and white, like what's rules and regulations. So where I was called Quad Upper 4A, right? So that means there's an officer called the bubble that just sits there all day watching that. And there's also quad upper 4B. So now that meaning there's 2 officers within the vicinity of from here to the refrigerator.
Right.
No, they cannot leave their post to come help me, even if I'm being stomped out. They cannot. No, that's black and white. If when they roll back the cameras, they say, "Oh no, Matt, you went to help Nick. Well, you abandoned post. You're not allowed to do that."
This is not as good of a job as you said it was.
No, I said it's a good paying job. I said, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. If somehow you could last.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
those guys would lose their job if they left their post.
Depending on their status of the disciplinary status, how far they are up the thing, but you're definitely getting written up for it. Okay. You're getting tagged, what we call tagged, like disciplined. Oh, you're going to get tagged for sure. I mean, they made that clear to us in the academy as well. You can't abandon your post. You got to stay there. Be the best possible witness. Now, unless it's a DPF, which is a deadly physical force, they teach us this crap.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
So I could stop the guy getting beat to death, or I could just make sure I'm a good
witness. If it's a DPF situation, then all hands on deck. Then anything goes.
Okay.
But if it's just me like getting punched in the mouth or something, that's not DPF.
I feel like that is. I feel like that's quickly going to.
That's the argument I would make as well.
Yeah.
You know, if I was in that situation, they're like, I'm going in, helping you, and I'll deal with the discipline later on. That's just me personally, and I've done it. And somehow I didn't get written up or whatever.
Okay. So go ahead. Sorry.
After I finally get help, which is supposed to be a unit with a captain.
But it's one guy.
Just one guy. No, this guy's fucking big.
Yeah.
He's huge. I mean, this guy can move a car.
Okay.
And once I saw him, I was like, okay, cool. You know, like, we're going to finally put this thing to rest, whatever quarrel these two have. Because one of them was anti-LGBTQ and the other one's exactly that.
Right.
And it became very sexist.
Okay.
The story. That's why I believe that something was going on between them romantically. It was like lovers' quarrel or something.
Okay. I
can't prove it, but whatever. I'm exhausted, dude. Obviously, 32 minutes of just agonizing stress because one of them's in there for murder. This other one's here for triple murder. These are not guys like you or who stole cars or bank fraud or anything like that.
Right.
And I go there, I'm against the wall like this, just covered. Like, I'm exhausted, man. I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm hurt. I needed 4 surgeries after this.
Okay.
From all the, I'm sorry, say again?
For like shoulder surgeries?
Shoulder, back, elbow, and knee.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, how many people out there are trained or could go out there and do this for 32 minutes?
Right.
I could practically drive back to where I just came from in 32 minutes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's a long time.
It's not like, I mean, even professional boxers get the bell every, 4 minutes or something like that?
3 minutes and I think 1 minute break or something. Yeah. Something along that line. Yeah. And you get their buddies tapping them like, yeah, keep going.
Yeah. And they're trained.
Right. And I'm definitely not.
Right.
Right. Not for something like this. I get this, and I'm going to show you, I'll tell you something here, how I had the respect of the guys, because I treat everybody with respect, regardless of your charges, even though you might be a piece of shit and everything. Until you give me a reason not to treat you with respect and dignity, I treat everybody the same way I will treat you. And they saw that. Believe it or not, my incompetent captain there comes in now, because now when that big guy comes in, and because once he gets the other guy, I say, okay, get this one here, everything's settled. I'm against the wall like this, just the inmates put their arms around me. And the captain, a useless captain, oh, what should I do? What should I do? Looking around. Inmates curse her out. What the fuck are you doing, you dumb bitch? Don't you see Officer G needs help? Call medical emergency. What are you doing? She's like, She says, you know what? Go to the clinic by yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Right. Tells you to walk there instead of calling them.
Right. And you see me limping out there. Again, like I'll keep emphasizing, everything's on camera. Everything's on camera. This is what we go to court with. I go there and they're like, oh, listen, you need to go to the hospital because you're almost having a heart attack because they're checking you. Now, of course, my blood pressure is going to be extremely high in a tense situation like that, being overly exhausted on top of that.
Right.
And that's it. So, go to the hospital. They recommend I take a month off to recover. And then during that time, I'm going to get MRIs, X-rays. Turns out I needed to get 4 surgeries because of this incident. And then, now this is where it becomes tricky. That's when they say, okay, fine, Nick, you come back to work on light duty. It's called an accommodation. So basically, instead of being in the housing area watching the guys, I could be behind the scenes answering phones or hitting the button to let some of the gates open.
Right.
A non-inmate, so it's sort of like just sitting here, like, okay, oh, you coming through, show me your ID. Zap. Okay, go through, watch the door close, and then just wait for the next person to come through. It's called an accommodation.
You're right.
So they accommodated me. So what they can't do, this is where my lawsuit really gets into play, is what they can't do is give me an accommodation, say, Nick, you're injured really bad, but you good enough to come in and answer phones and stuff, and then take that accommodation away from me. While you have people who don't need accommodations doing that same exact work.
Okay.
So let's say you, Matt, you're an officer just like me, but you're hooked up. Your uncle's the warden, or you're the neighbors, your neighbors with the warden in real life or whatever. So he said, Matt, I don't want you out there fighting with these drug addicts and gang members and all this shit. Come in and I'll find you a nice perky post over here, answering phones or answering emails. No. Matthew is not injured. Mm-hmm. Matthew has no restrictions. Matthew's supposed to be in the housing area. I apologize for pointing. No, it's
fine.
It's rude.
It's fine.
Matthew's supposed to be in the housing area with the inmates, and Nick is supposed to be here until he recovers. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
So that's where it becomes a discrimination. It's called a cooperative dialogue. It's a little clause in the ADA, American Disabilities Act. And they're in huge violation of that. Huge.
So they move you back there, and what? 3 weeks or 2 months later or 6 months later, they say,
I think it was 4 or 5 weeks. They gave me like a desk job and like answering phones.
Right. So then they say, then once you come back, they say, okay, well, you're going to put you back in the housing unit.
No. So they kept me there. No. So they kept me there, and they said, oh, okay, so we're letting you go. After I think it was 16 months. Don't quote me on it right now.
You're going to let me go for what? What's the reason for letting me go?
I was still on probation at that point.
Okay.
So the way, again.
But I got injured. Yeah.
Keep going. Yeah, I agree.
Right. Like
you
can't use me up. You can't allow me to get injured and then fire me because I'm on probation for no reason. I'm injured. So you're letting me go on probation because I'm like, what's the justification for letting me, for firing me on probation? You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're saying, hey, you're not working out. The reason you're saying I'm not working out is because I was injured. Like, Matt, that's not a justification to fire me.
Right.
I can still do the job. It's not like, hey, I'm showing up late fucking over and over again, or I'm showing up drunk, or I can't, you find out I can't read, I'm not able to fill out the paperwork or something like that. Like, that doesn't make sense.
And that's exactly the scenario. I mean, you sounded like my lawyer, right? Just okay. Without the actual legal
Yeah, I'm sure
wordage.
He's got the actual verbiage. Yeah.
Exactly. But that's what we're going to court with. So they said that oh, Nick, you're on probation. We could do exact words. We could do whatever we want to you.
That's not true.
No, I know it's not true. Yeah. You know it's not true. But this is what they say. Right. So we could do whatever we want to you. You have no rights. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. We have rights. So I go up to them like this, just to shut them up, because some people they're too dumb. They just believe everything they hear. And it was a black person that said it to me. Now I had to play the race card because he's saying I have no rights. Right. I'm like, okay, cool. I said, do you want to test your theory out? And he's sticking his chest out like, yeah, I want to test it out. I said, sure, let's go. How about this? I said, you're black and I'm white, correct? He says, yeah. I said, so basically what you're saying is if I'm in charge, I could say no black person ever gets off of probation, period. They could be perfect because you have no rights. He looks at me, no, you can't do that. I said, so you do have rights then? Right. Okay. Funny how all of a sudden now, when we test this little theory of yours, or what you believe to be the theory, now all of a sudden, no, you can't do that. Right. Oh, okay. Again, this is what we go to court. Right. They got to explain themselves.
So it's like religion, race, and in your case, it's disability. Yeah. I'm injured. You fired me because I'm injured. That's the only justification you can have for firing me or letting me go. And the probation thing is arbitrary. You've determined, by the way, you're on probation for 2 years. Really? You
Yeah.
just pick 2 years?
No. I mean, no. They make it. We're aware of it. We sign paperwork.
No, I understand being aware of it, but of course you're going to sign the paperwork. I'm being hired. Like, I think I'm not going to do anything wrong for 2 years, but you arbitrarily chose a time limit. Like, all of this is just kind of policy. You know what I'm saying? Policy your policy doesn't trump my civil liberties, right? It doesn't trump my rights. Under the Constitution, you don't get to say, by the way, we're gonna pay you while you're on probation or whatever. We're gonna pay you less because you're black. Sign here. Do you see what I'm saying? You could sign there. You could say, yeah, that's fine, and sign there. But guess what? I can sue you. Why? Because your policy doesn't trump my rights. You're not allowed to discriminate. Yeah, but you signed it. Doesn't matter that I fucking signed it. You weren't allowed to even put it down.
Matt, this is what I go to court with again.
Okay.
If my lawyer happens to die before my trial starts, I'll hire you.
Okay.
I'm serious. I'll fly you in.
Right.
Say, Matt, come in. Be a little charismatic here to explain this to the jury.
I'll get the words down a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'll read a couple. I'll read
a couple
some stuff
dollars
out,
here and there with
Yeah. I'll have a better
care of
argument.
you.
This is just off the cuff. I'll be better.
Absolutely. Same. Me and you were speaking on the same non-lawyer lingo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're going to court with. And they're going to delay. My lawyer already told me it's going to take 2 to 5 years because they're going to delay, deny, offer some money to just shut me up, which, by the way, I'm going to deny. Even if it's $1 million, I'm denying it because there's a bigger jackpot here at the end of this rainbow.
What? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
What else
they chose it. No,
right.
So
why not come in? You know what always kills me about the government is like their delay in the end, it must work for them, to be honest. The delay tactic must work. But I hate to say that because the government, listen, nobody, and I used to say that we say this in Coleman all the time, but it's true in any facet of government.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to the top of their field and ends up working for the government.
Absolutely. I agree.
There is no, like, you go to they're like, oh, well, go to the doctor. It's like, first of all, nobody becomes a doctor of the BOP because they're at the top of their field.
Definitely not. That's a huge pay cut.
You're on the bottom fucking rung. So it's like the same thing with the lawyers. Like, if you become a U.S. attorney or whatever, like, unless your goal is I'm going to sacrifice because I think I can end up being like U.S. attorney. Or maybe you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe you have career aspirations or you don't need the money. For instance, Robert Mueller, who was the FBI director and he wanted to be U.S. attorney, right? He didn't need the money. His family they were already rich.
Right.
So if you're saying, hey, we're wealthy and we've done very well for myself and I'm now going to go into government, okay, I get that. Maybe you were successful. But for the most part, if you're a lawyer working for the state of New York, you know, and you're basically in their civil department, like, you're probably not a great fucking lawyer, you know?
I 100% agree.
They're thinking, the standard MO is delay. They'll get frustrated and they'll take whatever we offer them because they're so desperate for the money after 4 years. But I wonder if there's some actuary out there that hasn't crunched the numbers to say, listen, you're better off going in right away. Because that's what insurance companies do. Yeah. They go in right away and say, look, take $50,000 because you just got hurt and you're probably thinking I'm going to have a surgery. I'm going to be better. I'll be back at work in 6 months. Not realizing if the insurance company knows if we wait, this guy's going to realize that the injury he has is now going to be permanently, partially disabled for the rest of his life. And that's not worth 50. That's worth a fucking $1 million minimum.
Right.
Because even if you get a job, you are now excluded from certain jobs. You may say, they'll say, oh, well, you can work. Yeah, I can work. But I can never work as a CO. I'll never be able to work as any physical jobs like a police officer. I'll never be able to turn this into become an FBI officer. There's tons of stuff I can't do now because I'm permanently, partially disabled. So that wasn't worth $50,000. That was worth a couple $1 million because I'm even the jobs I can take now are going to pay less, and they may not be the jobs I want. Because let's face it, the job you liked was kind of being the CEO. You probably liked, some people like that environment. Some people like being cops.
Right.
So you've now permanently taken me out of law enforcement by this injury.
Yeah, and there's a certain dollar value to that.
Right.
Yeah. So,
even if you can work, You're still partially disabled from here on out.
Right.
By the way, I was a workman's comp adjuster for about a year.
Were you?
Yeah. So I know the difference between, people are like, oh, you're disabled. Well, yeah, but then there's partially disabled, and then there's you're permanently. So you can be partially disabled for a certain period of time, and now you're 100%. Then you can be permanently partially disabled, which means you can work, but you'll always be at 20% capacity, and so you have to pay people for that.
Right.
And there's in workman's comp.
Oh,
there's even a
God.
calculation, and that's a shitty calculation.
I'll tell you a story. Matt, this thing has been one disaster after another in terms of dealing with the either incompetence or lies, blatant lies. No, so what happens is, in order for me to get medically terminated like I was, you have to go to this place called HMD, which is Health Management Division. So you go there every single month to the corrections doctors, which are bottom of the barrel doctors that we talked about. The guy who barely passes class, who's not good enough to get his own practice, that's this guy.
Or has been fired from 2 or 3 hospitals and isn't getting a job.
Yeah, that's this guy. And so they sit down and they say, okay, it's been 1 year. Who do we get rid of? And so my name came up. And so it's a doctor and an ADW. I'm not mentioning names but we could do a Google search on what happened to this guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
another beauty. He gets caught stealing overtime from the city, forging paperwork.
Okay.
And they give him a promotion. Doesn't get fired, doesn't get arrested. He gets to be in charge of that whole division, the management division. Not to go to the jails, to go be around inmates where he's supposed to. Even their union, the ADW's union, said this should not have happened. Guess what? Not only did he get promoted to that position, just recently, within maybe a month, he got promoted again to deputy warden. How?
I mean, I could tell you how it works in the BOP. What happens?
Enlighten me, because I know there's plenty of people out there that are in support of me, and I just got this information recently.
So here's what happens: is if you're a problem for the BOP, so they have such a strong. Once you become, you're fully vested and you're a part of the union, right? Yeah. So the COs have a union.
Yeah, once you pass probation.
Right, and this is in the federal. Okay. So, and this is what I've been told by other staff members.
Yeah.
So we had a counselor that was named Miss Jenkins. I will use names. So, and this is normal, right? So you become, so now you're your staff, you're on your union, and so if you're such a problem for a facility that they can't just come to you and fire you. They can't say like, look.
Why not? You could go out there and steal from a job and they're entitled to keep you?
Well, typically you'd have to probably be charged with that crime. Like you would have to have like
That's my point, incompetence, governmental incompetence.
What I'm saying is that you would have to be charged from like, let's say the local cops would have to come and arrest you. And even then, you have hearings and all these things you can do.
And he did what he's being accused of, and he kept his job.
Right. Well, what happened, let's say Miss Jenkins was like a horrible CO, correctional officer. She was such a problem, writing up so many people, causing so many problems, and making stuff up and whatever. The point is that she's such a problem, they want to get rid of her. First what they'll do is they'll give you assignments that they think will frustrate you and get you to quit. So
absolutely.
So if you don't quit and you keep being a problem, then they'll get to a point where they'll try and move you to another, like usually what they'll do is they'll try and get rid of you from, let's say, that prison.
Right.
You know what? Let's move her to another prison, to another this, to another, move her around. Because a lot of these prisons are complexes. They have multiple prisons. Like they'll have a pen and they'll have a camp.
Right.
Because the inmates at the camp will take care of the prison. They'll mow the yards. They'll do maintenance, right? They're trustworthy. But the guys at the pen, you can't let them work on the mowers.
Hell no.
They'll turn them into knives and start killing people. So the point is that they'll move her from the pen to the camp. Then they'll say, okay, well, you know what? Let's move her to a completely different facility. And keep in mind, that's a problem because the moment they do that, they have to buy your house, right? They either have to buy it or they have to put it on the market, and then they have to provide you a bonus, or they have to provide you a per diem to move, a moving, whatever they call that, per diem. They give you money to move. They do all these things.
That doesn't go on over here, but okay.
Okay, so that's the feds. So, but they have to offer you that, like, hey, we have an opportunity for you to go here, this other place, or this other prison. Now she can say no if it's a lateral move. If it's a lateral move, she can say, no, I like it where I'm at. I don't want to move. I don't want to go to California. No, but you get extra money because you get better pay. Yeah, but the cost of living is higher.
Yeah, so it's not.
And she's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. My family's local. And they'll be like, or they'll say, hey, I know you have family in Georgia.
Right.
We're going to move you to Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, I don't want to do that. And they're like, fuck. So then here's what you can't do. You cannot turn this down. We have a promotion in Atlanta. So you get to be a unit manager. Turn that down and we can fire you.
Really?
Right. And so they're like, now she's like, fuck. So they move you here.
Right.
And why do they do that? Because the warden at the prison that you're at right now doesn't like the fact that you're constantly writing up inmates. You're
doing too much.
You're doing too much. You're causing us too much work.
Right.
Even whether it's true or not.
Cause too many waves.
Right. It's true or not. You're causing everybody problems. You're creating too much paperwork, too much work for us. We're sick of it. We told you to calm down. You won't do it. So guess what? You can now be a unit manager or whatever, a counselor.
Whatever, yeah.
We're going to transfer you. You have to take it. So you take it. So now but it's also a bump in pay.
Yeah, a forced promotion. Poor woman.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get
Jenkins. Yeah, poor Miss Jenkins. Right. Let me set up a GoFundMe for her.
So now she's a counselor. And then what happens is after 2 or 3 years there, they're like, she is such an issue here. The new warden's like, I got to get rid of her. I've tried to get rid of her. I can't. Right. The warden or the union keeps stepping in every time we complain about her or we write her up, and they fight it, and we have to drop those write-ups or whatever. We can't get rid of her. So you know what? We're going to get rid of her this way. We know that a position is here. So they move her here and they give her. So what happens is the bad apples or the people that nobody wants to deal with, the people that are a problem, they keep getting pushed up. Before you know it, they're unit managers or they're assistant wardens of some little
unit, whatever
bullshit camp somewhere that nobody wants to be at. And then they get there and they try and eventually get them to a point where they're not a problem for them anywhere. But the problem is by that point, they've been in the system for 10, 15, 20 years. They know the game. They've been pushed up. They've got clout. I'm now a warden of a camp, and I'm making $200,000 or $250,000, and I've got 15 guys underneath me.
Right.
And you go, how did this person become, because they were doing too much or they were a problem now, if you actually catch another charge and they can, because you can get a charge and still not lose your job. Right. But if you become like a felon or something, a lot of times they can basically fire you.
Okay.
But that takes a lot. To get these people charges, like you'd have to get arrested for something. Can't be like a DUI. It's got to be something major. It's got to be you got caught for, whatever, shooting somebody or burglary or something really
something very unlikely is not going to happen. Right.
Right. And so that's what happens a lot of times is you get these COs. We had a guy who was a CO. He was a CO.
Yeah.
He'd been caught harassing inmates. This is a male CO, harassing male inmates.
What?
This guy had been doing this for 10, 15 years, and he literally every year or two, he got so many write-ups for it. They go to him and they're like, we can fire you, and you could fight it, or you can just go to this other prison. It's easier to transfer, for you to take a transfer. Like, it's a fresh start for you. Stop doing whatever these people are saying you're doing. Yeah, you're right. And he moves. 6 months later, he's harassing other inmates. He gets a couple write-ups, and the new guy says, look, man, we're going to transfer you, bro. Like, I'm sorry, you can't be doing this. I'm not saying it's true, but we've got 3 guys saying it, like it's an issue. And he doesn't necessarily know that this has been an issue at the other prison.
Right.
They move him again. It's like the priests. We just keep shifting them from one prison to another, just like they send them to one church or one jurisdiction or whatever it was. They just keep doing it. We had guys that a guy that was there. He's probably in his 50s, late 50s, and he was harassing the inmates, calling them in there, telling them, "Oh, you work out, do you? Yeah, you look like you work out. How old are you? Well, if you have sex with another man in prison, it doesn't make you gay." What? What?
This
is a conversation.
Like I'm only gay for the state.
Yeah,
or something like that.
And the guy'd be like, "What did you say?" Yeah, I'm gonna go. Oh, let's talk. No, we're good. I'm good. I'm leaving. Can I leave? If you want to leave, yeah. I just want to shooting the shit with you. I want to be a part of this conversation, bro.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah. So that's why these guys, that's the same kind of thing. You're like, how has this guy still got a fucking job? Because it's too difficult to fire them.
Yeah, with this one, I don't know how the rules are over there in the feds with the transfers and stuff. We're in New York City, so you can only do it within
so
the 5
far.
Right, yeah. And from what I'm hearing, I can't verify it, that this guy doesn't even jail. Like he's always given. He knows the right people. God bless him. I wish I knew the right people.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be on this podcast. I wouldn't be on this podcast if I did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in. But I don't know the right people. This guy does. But he gets to steal from the city and it gets swept under the rug. And meantime, that's the motherfucker that signs off on my termination.
Well, I mean, he should run for Congress.
She's
a shoo-in. They're like, he's one of ours.
Yeah. But yeah, by the way, the guy, he's not really... I don't know how you get overtime in an office setting and you're not even in the jail. The guy made over $260,000 last year.
Like I said.
Public information.
Congress.
Yeah.
He's one of us. He should run. I thought you were going to say he's not that smart.
I don't know him personally. I've never even met him. So me and him, we might not have even crossed paths.
Right.
As far as I know. I know what he looks like. I don't recall ever seeing him besides pictures. Yeah. But whatever. Like I said, I'll see you in court.
Right.
Yeah. So naturally, you said you worked but by the way, I didn't know that. Yeah. That you worked at. So what are they going to do? The second you get a claim, he walked in injured.
Even though you said they strip searched you, they did a physical check.
But I'm saying that's what workers' comp does. That their first line of defense is, he
was always injured.
Yeah, he's injured. By the way, I've never been injured.
Right.
For anything. Not one.
Right.
So when I lost my job, I called my attorney. When they let me go, it's like, they can't do that. You have a worker, we have a case open, all this shit. I was like, yeah, well, what do you want me to tell you? I can't force them to take me back.
Right.
He's like, don't apply for unemployment. He tells me, we're gonna have workers' comp pay. It pays you way more.
Okay.
I said, sure. So they squeezed me for 5 months without pay. So 5 months, I have zero income coming in. And all they're doing is delaying the hearings, delaying to squeeze you. They're following me.
Mm-hmm.
Squeezing. You believe they try to bring in a fake witness on a hearing against me?
Who?
The warden, who was not there.
Okay.
They're like, Your Honor, we need another delay because we need to bring in the warden there to have the warden testify. And my lawyer's like, the fuck is the warden wasn't even there.
Right.
A witness is a person that saw something there or heard something with it, their own ears or eyes. That's witness. That's the very definition.
Right.
And I told my lawyer, I was like, listen, that's just another delay. You sure the warden doesn't have anything against you? I said, no, I was actually, I don't want to sound conceited or anything, but I was liked and respected by everybody that I ever come across at the job, whether it's inmates, doctors, lawyers, warden, captains, whoever, all of them. And I was like, no. I said, the warden's not going to show up. And lo and behold, of course, they didn't show up. They have not. What are they going to say? Right. They weren't there.
It's just a way to try and get an extra delay.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. And then recently, the IMEs, another lie by them. You know what an IME is?
Mm-mm.
It's an independent medical examination.
Okay.
So in order for you to keep collecting workers' comp pay, you need to go see their doctors, not your own doctors. And then from there, they say, okay, Nick, you might have improved or something. So if you improved a little, they start deducting your paycheck. I'll just use round numbers. For the sake of it, let's say I was getting $1,000 a week. And the IME, the independent,
mm-hmm.
The government, the city picks a doctor. The city pays a doctor, but we call these labels independent. Another scam.
Right.
Yeah. And they say, oh, Nick, I feel like you improved by 20%. So now your weekly payments
Now it's
drop.
$800.
Exactly. So that's how that works. So recently, and I have the documentation, I can't wait to show it to a jury again with this one too. They say, oh, Nick, why didn't you show up to your IME? I said, what are you talking about? You didn't show up. It was the last Friday of February, whatever the number was. I was like, yes, I did. Like, oh, no, you didn't. I got the letter. I said, yes, I did. It was a black girl with big boobs, low-cut shirt, hair tied backwards, listening to R&B music. I was in the front desk with her from 4:25 to about 4:33, hanging out, talking about music. Yes, I was there. I mean, exact specifics. And the girl's like, oh, you have an attitude problem. Attitude problem?
You're lying. You're lying to me right now on the phone. Why do I have an attitude problem when you're lying?
How's it an attitude? I'm giving you the exact specifics of even what the girl was wearing and her hair and everything, and the exact location where you could find me on camera. But you're saying I have an attitude? And then I called my lawyer. I'm like, listen.
This is what they're doing. So they come back and say you were there?
Yeah, of course. Of course. My lawyer asked for paperwork on what happened that day. Another thing, by the way, another piece of document with their letterhead. Oh, we need something there, reports on what happened to Nick Goiche there on April 27th of 2021. Oh, we have no records at all with his name. Nothing ever happening to him that day. That's on record too.
Do you already have all the video and everything from the prison?
No, I don't have the video.
They won't release it? Like, correct. You're telling me he hasn't ordered the video?
They're not releasing it.
Yeah, that bothers me because to me that's their last the line of defense is suddenly to say, "Oh, we can't find it. It was erased."
No, that's fine. And what my lawyer said that he did. Yeah, that's par for the course.
Yeah, because then you get in front of a jury and say, "Oh," and then they we ordered it, we requested it, and by the time they had to provide it, suddenly it got erased. In front of a jury, they're going to be like, "These motherfuckers." You starting to see how I know I'm going to win? Yeah.
Exactly. So even if they do that, then what we are accusing them of stands.
Stands. I don't know what that means.
Stands meaning that the city can't rebut it because if they're the ones who deleted the video.
Yeah.
So if Nick is saying,
so they can't. Oh, you don't get to erase the video and then deny what happened on the video.
Yeah. So basically, whatever I'm saying, as long as it's reasonable, as long as I don't say like a ghost came in and threw me against the ceiling,
right?
As long as it's nothing like that, something reasonable, which I'm just speaking everything as if they had the video. It stands. Stands meaning,
right?
It's good. It's accepted evidence.
So so. What are you doing now? You're waiting for
I'm still collecting workers' comp checks.
You waiting for a job? Not jobs. You waiting for a court case?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm waiting for court cases and stuff, and it's very taxing, Matt. It really is because you're constantly anxious as to like what the hell's going on here. This doesn't make sense. Like how? If someone would have told me ahead of time that this goes on, I would say you're full of shit. It just does not make sense at all.
Right.
But I have no regrets. And even with what I know now, I would still go back. Believe it or not.
Right.
Because the job for me was easy. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure it was the places that you spent, 12, 13 years. The officers who treated people with respect and dignity, for the most part, almost always got it back. You're going to have a couple exceptions here and there. But if you're supposed to get your 3 square meals, you're supposed to go see the doctor every Tuesday at 8:00, and Joe Blow out there is supposed to get his religious services at 3:00 on Thursdays, just ensure that they get it. Right. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, this isn't a difficult job.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Some COs will make it difficult. But the guys, and we used to always like the 9 to 5ers.
Right.
That's what you like, the 9 to 5ers.
Why? Yeah, that's me.
Because they were the guys who were like, listen, I'm just here to do a job. Like I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to punish you. I'm here to open the fucking door when they say it's your turn for chow. I have to walk through the unit. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. If you guys are tattooing, fucking get a lookout so they can see me coming. Because if I walk by and I see you tattooing, I'm gonna have to take the fucking tattoo gun. It depends on which level you're at. You know, because like in the pen, like they'll just let you tattoo. They'll walk right by, see you, and be like, fine, as long as you guys aren't stabbing each other or stabbing us.
Right.
The medium, I had a CO tell me this one time, the SI, they call them SIS, when we first went in. They said, listen, at the pen, we're trying to keep the inmates from stabbing us. At the medium, we're trying to keep them from stabbing each other. At the low, we're trying to keep them following the rules.
Right.
He goes, follow the rules, you'll be fine. And I was I'm a rule follower. I'm good. But so it was funny because at the medium, they didn't give a shit if you were tattooing. At the pen, they'll walk right by.
Yeah.
At the low, most of the 9-to-5ers would be like, listen, if you're going to tattoo, get a lookout so that when I walk in to walk my rounds.
Be a smart criminal.
Yeah. Put it away. If I see it, I have to take it.
Yeah.
Like
that's what you make my job difficult. Yeah.
But then you had some guys who were like literally, the guards are like running in on them and trying to do this and trying to, it's like, come on, man, I'm already here. I'm already fucking miserable. Like, why are you searching my fucking locker? You're taking, you got 6 pair of socks. You're only allowed to have 3. I'm writing you up. Like,
well,
what are you doing?
those are the guys that are going to get.
They get shit thrown on them. They get,
there you go.
They go to grab the door handle and guys will take peanut butter and rub peanut butter on it because it looks like, because these guys aren't going to touch feces. Right. But the cop doesn't know that. He'll go to grab it. He'll be like, oh, you motherfuckers, fire. They'll scream and holler. It's like, bro, it's peanut butter. Like, you know, you can
But
tell
just now you
quick.
understand the point. Get off my fucking dick with the goddamn 6 socks.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Like, I don't want to make don't make my job harder. Don't make yours. But some guards, listen, when we're talking about the deuces, I wanted to mention something. There was a guy named, and you've heard me say this guy, his name, I'll never forget it. His name is Solo. Solo,
like by himself, solo, like he walks solo.
Well, I think his last name was something, because all it is like it'll say like
probably Solomon or something.
But it'll say like G Solo, like his probably name is Greg Solo, but they don't give you your last name. It's like Officer Solo.
They don't give last names out there.
No, they give last names.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. It'll be like G. Solo.
Got it.
They don't say Greg Solo. They don't want you looking these guys up.
Right, well, they get it anyway.
Yeah,
these guys know my fucking license plate numbers.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how.
Well, this is federal. I don't know how. Anyway, it's not going to be hard. But the point is Solo fought like ultimate fighting. Like this was a guard. This CO was
about it.
He had an attitude. In fact, he had such an attitude. He had to wear a sleeve over his tattoos because he had racial tattoos on his arm, and they hired him. Oh, absolutely.
Incompetence. They're not. They're not supposed to hire that.
Well, but they do. They just make you wear a sleeve. So he had a sleeve over it.
With that. Go ahead.
So he's walking around, and I mean, he was one of these guys. He was a super cop. But here's what's funny about him. One time, he went to shake somebody down, and the guy ran. And this is like a tranny. He runs into the bathroom. Now these are group bathrooms, right? They're these aren't individual cells. This is at the low, so it's a what do they call them? A dorm? Open bay.
Okay.
So there's cells, but they're only 5 foot tall concrete block walls.
Right.
So you could walk up and look into. There's no doors, and you have a group. You have 180 guys between
180,
150 to 180 guys.
Holy shit!
It's low. We're children.
Yeah.
Nobody's hurt. So it's a shared bathroom. So you have like 8 toilet stalls, 8 urinals, probably a dozen sinks, and then I'd say probably 10 showers, right, for everybody. So you go in like so. What happens? It depends on the time of the day. You might walk in the bathroom. There's nobody in all of these. This is all one massive. This is probably a 1,500 square foot space, maybe 2,000 square foot space of all this stuff that I just mentioned, and nobody might be in there because almost everybody's out on the yard. Like there's so much stuff to do in prison. Like this isn't Rikers.
No, Rikers, you don't have much to do. You're dying of boredom.
Tons of stuff to do there, right? But anyway, so Solo grabs this guy. He runs from Solo. He gets into the bathroom, jumps, and goes into a toilet stall, and he's standing. He's in the toilet stall. Solo like bangs on the and kicks open the toilet stall. Yeah. Grabs the guy. The guy attacks him, and he's supposed to have like I heard. By the way, all this was Inmate. Gossip.com. Inmate.com. That's okay. It's got gossip. So, but I do know he attacked him. and Solo hit the ground. And as Solo's trying to hit the deuces, the guy wouldn't let him hit the deuces. He's fighting with Solo, so he couldn't hit the deuces. He eventually does, but I heard Solo start screaming because this guy he's like in transition. One of these, this guy. And Solo's screaming. He's also got a razor. So he's holding the hand. He's trying to hit the button. He's, no doubt he was in panic. But the funniest thing was so Solo's gone. He has to stay gone for a couple of days because I think he had a black eye or something.
Oh, poor.
A couple of days
He's
later.
lucky that's all it was.
He comes back and guys are saying stuff like in the unit. So you could hear throughout the whole unit. Guys are basically saying like, they're screaming out like, watch out for them trannies, Solo. Watch out for them trannies.
Of course.
And he's this an attitude. Who the fuck said that? Who the fuck said that? Who the fuck? Like you can't. Like,
they found his trigger.
Oh, that was it. It was it.
Yeah.
He was gone. He was gone within probably a month or so. Eventually they just had to move. I think, keep in mind, Coleman, it's got 2 pins, a medium and a low. They put Solo at the low. Well, and it's got a camp. They put Solo at the low.
It's easy for him to act tough also.
Right. Because if he goes to the medium or pin, these guys will they'll beat you to death. Right.
Yeah.
They'll attack him. They'll get
they're
him
not getting out. Yeah, they're nothing to lose.
So I don't know where they sent him, but I know they sent him somewhere. But yeah, he had a real attitude. And I saw him, I want to say on 2 separate occasions, but one of them I literally was like right there and looked at him. Right. He grabbed the guy to put him up and the guy yanked back and Solo reached down, flipped him over the air and slammed, full body slam, jumped on him and handcuffed him. Listen, I never seen anything like it. It was like watching an ultimate fight. This fucking guy, this was the worst cop because he wasn't just an asshole. He was dangerous. Like he'll fuck you up in a second.
He looks like he took the job just to do this legally.
Yeah, exactly. He wanted you to. Yeah. He was get up and he grabbed you. And of course, a lot of these guys are like, "Don't fucking touch me." And that was a mistake. The moment you yank away, he gets to use
cameras
force.
Out there or no?
There are cameras, man. Those cameras don't. Half the cameras, and this is kind of like the Epstein thing.
Where people, I don't want to talk about that. Right? Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble.
What? No. Okay, well, I won't say. I'll just say in general, it's all these guys. We have all these guys that will come on here and talk about how, Epstein was killed and this and this. It's like, listen, and they're like, oh, the cameras weren't working. Man, half the cameras don't work in those in the low in the low. Tons of cameras don't work. Well, what happened, I don't know, but there's so many. I used to because you'd get something stolen, you go to the cops and you'd say, listen, my MP3 player was stolen off the charger. Yeah. Can you go to the camera? And they're like, which
they don't want to get involved. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they're just like, which camera? Right. And you tell them this camera, they'd be like, that camera doesn't work. I can go to this camera. Right. You're like, what do you mean that camera doesn't work?
You mean the camera does an angle that you can't see shit on? Yeah, that one? Yeah, thank you.
Right. They're like, they're like, this one works. Right. And listen, I've been in SIS and walked in and seen all the camera systems. Yeah. But a lot of them don't work. They'll tell you they just don't work. They don't give a
just like our government.
Yeah, they just don't give a shit. Like they're like, well, why don't you guys fix them? They're like this place runs pretty good. Why would we fix the fucking? We got to come in.
What's the purpose of having it there then?
You know what it is. It's to make you think the camera's there. Like that stops a lot. Just thinking, fuck, we're on camera. Let's go somewhere else. Even though the camera doesn't, you don't know if it doesn't work or not. So the inmate, trust me, the inmates
partial deterrent.
Yeah, the inmates will hey, let's go over here, and they will. You'll walk to somewhere where there's not a camera. Yeah, and there's lots of places there aren't cameras.
Yeah. That's not happening here. I mean, what some of these guys have done to block the cameras is they'll say, but this is more in like the high classification, like the really rowdy guys. Yeah,
toilet paper. Will they throw toilet paper? Or
take jelly or butter or peanut butter on the toast. On the sliced bread. And they'll say, "Hey, Cox, we're gonna fuck up so and so at 3:00 whatever time. I need you to just take the sliced bread, paste it on top of the cameras."
Right.
And they do it. Yeah. They don't have a choice. Either that or they're gonna be next.
Yeah. Or they'll take toilet paper and they mesh the toilet paper up, and you can just throw it and it'll stick. Stunk. Mm-hmm. You'd be shocked what you can do. You can build all kinds of stuff with toilet paper.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially when it dries up.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard.
Yeah.
Hard as fuck.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I'll tell you an interesting story there. We talked about how we just found Solo's trigger, and the guys were all giving him about the tranny and everything like that. They move him out. I was with the Crips, these maximum Crips. Yeah. So I know that these guys liked me as much as you could possibly like an officer that,
right.
you know what I'm saying? But they liked fucking with me and being engaging. Because I would stay there and chit chat with them just like I'm chitting here with you. I had no problem with it. Because I'm locked in there with them.
Yeah, I'm just there to follow the rules, just to
That's
get you
it.
to make sure, hey, you can't do that, bro.
Yeah. Sort of like the way I described when I was in high school, I just wanted to get by. If
Yeah.
D was passing, that's what you're getting. That's what the job was getting out of me.
Right.
They're getting the D. Enough to stay employed.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be a superhero like Mr. Solo.
yeah.
No, that's not me.
Yeah, he's causing more problems than he's solving.
Correct.
We had a CEO, we had a guy who was a former CEO who was talking about like the balance. Like whoever's making the rules
Doesn't know the job.
doesn't understand the job. Like,
Right.
so you have to have somebody go in there and you have to have a balance of following the rules while keeping the peace. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a balance. You can't be so overly strict on the rules that you create major problems for yourself.
There'll be riots. If they followed every single rule the way it's written, black and white, rules and regs,
Yeah. It wouldn't function. They'd be attacking guards left and right.
or you won't have officers.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
And that's a fact.
Right.
So as I was saying, so these guys wanted to really give me a hard time. They're always looking for your trigger to try to find something so they could weaponize it and use it against you. So make you cry or something.
Yeah.
So
They're con men. They're all inmates are fucking scammers, con men.
yeah, but this guy, I liked, what he said with the creative shit that he came up with, just built me up, just to shatter me. And he played the racial component, the racial factor in the black guys are blessed in a certain way more than white guys.
Okay.
Right. So, my last name is Goichai, right? And he says my last name perfectly, like he's Albanian.
Right.
And most of these guys are from the Bronx, just like I am. And so I think that in some ways we kind of connected in that sense that lived in the same neighborhoods and stuff. And it's like, hey, Goichai, man. And I see all of a sudden now the whole housing area gets quiet. So something's up. I was like, they put this kid up to do something, some kind of trick or something. Like, whatever it is, I'll figure it out eventually. He's like, hey, man, I could tell that when your girlfriend brought you home to meet her family, they were really proud. They would say, they put their arms around you and said, yeah, he's one of us. He's with us. Matter of fact, now mind you, he's 22 years old, black.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, matter of fact, mind you, I could be his father.
Right.
In terms of the age gap and stuff. He's like, matter of fact, you're such a good guy. If you dated my mom, sister, or aunt or anything, I'd be proud to claim you as one of our own as well. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Mr. I'm not going to say the name, Mr. Inmate. Thank you. That's very nice of you. He says, and you're a good guy because you're out here working overtime. You don't have a problem you don't try to talk your way out of coming to this housing area and stuff. So we all, quote unquote, fuck with you, meaning they like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we fuck with you like that. I thought, oh, thanks. I fuck with you guys too. He's like, but I could tell you're a little naive. And I said, naive? I'm like, oh, shit. While he's distracting me here, somebody's getting shanked in the back.
Right.
Again, these are maximum security guys. These are all high classification. And I'm like, I jump up because I'm on camera right here lollygagging with you.
Well, somebody might be getting attacked in the back.
Yeah. And he saw that he read my mind. He's like, no, don't worry about it. Nobody's getting stomped out. I said, I just did a real quick tour. I said, no, so what are you talking about? About the naive part. He says, you're out here working all this overtime, making all this money, treating your girl real good, buying her nice stuff, going on vacations. But do you know why you're working and doing this, putting all these hours here? She's sucking off the word is, I'm going to use the word ninja, is the word that white people can't call blacks.
Right.
Right. She's sucking off two ninjas that look just like me. Long hair, tattoos, getting sprayed in the face.
What's this guy's goal? To get
And then
locked up?
And then he comes around to my desk and he puts his arms around me just like this. He says, but don't worry about it, Goichai. She really does love you. Well, the whole thing was just to make me insecure about me, the white guy who's not blessed.
Right.
Is my girlfriend's cheating with the two guys that I can't compete with.
Right.
Oh, no, please, Mr. Inmate, you ruined my day.
Right.
Oh, I have to quit now. I guess they were hoping to get some kind of response out of me. And I told him, I said, Mr. Inmate, when I see you outside, when you do your time, because you're in there for armed robbery, so you're looking about 7 to 10.
Right.
If I see you outside at a bar or restaurant, I will cover your tab for you and whoever you're with. That's a good one. I like that. And I kind of saw that guys were disappointed.
Yeah, well, he's hoping you were going to fucking get upset and scream.
Don't talk about my girlfriend or wife, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Didn't happen. And but I like the attempt, though, the creative attempt. They must have been thinking about that shit all day long.
Right. Like, this is what they're doing with their time. How can we get to this guy?
Yeah, but, you're always going to run into interesting characters out there, unique stories that you're not going to find at a regular workplace.
Yeah.
So if you're working at Target or Walmart or Applebee's, or UPS, some of the stuff that stories that you have or I have, they're just, when we tell them, like, what?
No, that's what I always tell whenever the guests come on and we start talking. I'm like, look, you have to, especially guys that have been locked up or been committing crime most of their life. I'm like, look, don't skate over anything. Don't skim over it. Don't be like, yeah. So I got arrested, and so my lawyer said, it's like, whoa. Like, don't, like, how did you get arrested?
Yeah.
Tell me about the arrest. They're like, bro, I got arrested. No, I know, but the guys who are watching this are driving forklifts. They're laying drywall. They're putting down, they're doing, like, they haven't been arrested.
Right. They don't know anything about the shit that you did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they've never been arrested, or maybe they had a DUI, or they got a buddy who's been
doesn't count.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? So let's go through that slowly. And they're like, oh, because that's the problem is, like, if I talk to my buddy Zach or something, he does very, so it's always, I got arrested or this or that, because I know the whole process. So when you're talking to somebody like you, but it's funny too, because then when you meet a normal person, just
a crazy one, right?
Everything about that person, just say some guy who works at, he's a manager at Walmart for the last 25 years. And then, he went to college, he went to high school, he married his high school sweetheart or something, and he's been doing this job for 25 years. You talk to him, almost every story or everything about my life is, what? Huh? What'd you say?
Right.
Huh? Like and you get to a point you're like, fuck, like, there's nothing I've done that's normal. Like, there's nothing I can say to this guy that he's like, no, I know, I understand that. Everything I've done has been like, wait, you did what? How did that? But I thought, other than, the only other job that probably he would have been like, oh, okay, I understand. Yeah, I got a buddy who does that, is I worked as a workman's comp adjuster.
Yeah.
Right. So I've worked, for a year or so, I worked in construction. Well, I worked in workman's comp, which is funny because I never really talk about that. Like, right out of college, for about a year, I worked as a workman's comp adjuster.
Yeah.
Then I worked doing construction because I got laid off. So for about a year, I worked construction, and that's when the girl I was dating was like, "You got to become a mortgage broker," because she had gotten a job and I became a mortgage. And then everybody knows the story, but But other than that, every story is just fucking. They're constantly like, the fuck, and even getting out of prison. It's like, if I mention, somebody's like, oh yeah, I met my wife on, Match.com, or oh yeah, it was my wife, we went to high school together, or it was my buddy Jimmy's sister. I met her at a party. I mean, oh, where'd you meet your wife? Oh, I met her at the halfway house. And they're like, she worked there? No. You were in the halfway house and she was working a regular. No, we both got out of prison
together and just.
Right. And they're
the
like,
stars were aligned.
What? Like, every single thing that's happened, even since then, has been like insanity from an average person's perspective.
Of course. I'll tell you, but
if you worked as a CO, it's the same thing. Your everyday is insane compared to the guy that works driving a forklift. It's like, everybody's like, what do you mean they threw feces on somebody? What happened? What?
Yeah.
Or they, two fucking inmates attacked a fucking CO and you ran. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah.
I had a pallet fall today.
Whoa. Let's stop the press.
Right.
Whoa.
Like
that's the story of the day?
That's the excitement in this guy's day. Is like a pallet fell off of this guy's fucking forklift.
I don't
like,
give
what
a
do you
fuck
mean?
about you, pallet.
Somebody attacked you.
Exactly.
These 6 inmates jumped me in the hallway. What?
Right. Exactly. So some of these guys, I have a personality. I like to chit chat. So guys would chit chat, and Matt, I was surprised at how open some guys would even talk about some of the stuff that's going on. One time I'm watching. Have you ever seen a yarmulke wearing crackhead?
Never.
Have you?
Never.
Yeah.
I did see there was a guy who was Orthodox Jew, right? He had the curls.
Yeah, no, this one didn't. He had the yarmulke on.
No, I'm saying I was locked up with a guy.
Yeah.
This is or fully tattooed.
What?
Yeah, which is absolutely
you can't do that.
Cannot get tattoos,
right?
You cannot. But he would, and we used to always say like,
"What?
Did you
I gotta see that?
Did you have the?" He was like, "Oh no, on the street I was just like this." Oh, I've been ostracized. Like they hate me. Like the Jews hate me.
Yeah.
Like, he's Jewish.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, my parents are furious." He's like, "I mean, they talk to me." He's like, "But they're furious." And then he ended up running a scam and coming to. Actually, I think his was drugs, which is another thing that's like, what are you doing?
Another no. Yeah.
Yeah. But he was super, I forget his name too. We used to talk to him. He was super cool. But anyway, go ahead. So that's the oddest thing I've seen.
Okay, yeah, but this is going to be relative. They're very close to the odd thing. And I'm looking at him in it's a big dorm room, right? So I'm just watching him. I'm like, this is odd. Like, listen, it is what it is. 85, 90% of the demographics at Rikers Island, the inmates, are either Latino or black.
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't make these numbers up. I didn't arrest them. That's the people that I'm watching over.
But a Jewish crackhead.
Yeah, and he's small. He's puny. He's like 140 pounds, 150.
How tall?
Maybe 5'6", 5'7", somewhere around there. But he looks so comfortable, Matt. This is where he belongs. And everybody's embracing him. So I'm thinking like he's an embezzler. Got a mortgage fraud or credit card fraud or something. And that guys are like, okay, teach us how to do it and we'll let you live here and you sleep in peace. We're not going to rob you or anything. Just give us it. Wrong answer. That was not him. So I tap on the window. I'm like, yo, dude, out of curiosity, what are you here for? If you don't mind me asking. I said, I could check your card anyway without knowing. But he's like, he's real proud of himself. He's like, oh, you didn't read about me in the papers? Puts his arms together like real. I'm like, I said, no, maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. You do read the papers, but I can't say I remember every single article I've ever read. Do me a favor. I don't want to talk to you. Google me. And when you read the article, come and tap the window. I'll come and talk to you. This guy, what he did is the most unique thing I've ever heard. Priceless.
Okay. Okay.
He pretended to be an off-duty cop. He goes into the police station in Brooklyn. I forget if it's...
Oh, that's fucking ballsy.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
He walks in like he belongs, like he's a cop walking into the locker room to get ready to change and put on a uniform, go on patrol. And cops are like, yo, who are you? He's like, oh, he made up some name. Oh, I am, John Doe, whatever the name is.
Officer so-and-so.
Yeah.
22nd precinct.
I've been deep undercover in this drug operation, and I'm getting promoted. I'm here to just pick up my shit. I'm going to One Police Plaza, which is the police headquarters, to pick up my shit. So he knew like the layout of the whole precinct, the lingo, and the steps on where to get promoted and where to go. He knew all that. He goes in, he breaks into off-duty cop's locker. Not to steal the gun, not to steal anything, to steal the uniform. He puts the uniform on, walking past dozens of cops. It's like, yo, something's up with this guy. Something's up. Something doesn't make sense with this fucking guy.
Is he wearing a yarmulke?
Yes.
I mean, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb.
That's what makes the story even more amazing. He makes it, he's right at the front door, boom. He runs into two cops that arrested him in the past and that knew him. Like, hey, I know you. What the fuck you doing? You're not a cop.
I changed my life.
No. He's like, I know you.
Story.
I personally arrested you. There's no way you can be a cop. Cover of the newspaper. I forget if it was the Daily News or the New York Post. Him with the yarmulke on, in handcuffs, with the uniform on.
That's insane.
So I'm like, yo, dude. So I read it. I'm like, this cannot be real. Now, this story's so juicy, I can't not ask a question. I have to. Yo, come here. So I said, I Googled you. You asked me to? I did. You don't need to answer the question. I'm not trying to grill you to bring you up on charges or anything.
Yeah.
I said, but the media sometimes runs with stuff. They lie or exaggerate to sell clicks or papers. How much of it is true? Put some arms together again. All of it. I said, why would you, like how much is this? The shirt is $15, $20. Why would you go through this for? So what can I do? What can I tell you, man? I'm a crackhead. We do stupid shit.
I wonder what his ultimate. Like he was thinking, steal the uniform, walk out. He was gonna. He had a second. There was a secondary plan to that, other than
most likely. But so when they check your paperwork, well, for the people that don't know what that is, I mean, you know what it is. Yeah. And the inmate said, like, hey, what are your charges? The reason they found him to be cool is because what he did. So they called up their people, like, hey,
check this out.
Check this guy's name. See if he's lying to us. Because if he's lying, we're gonna fuck him up. Everything checked out.
Right.
And so now he's embraced by everybody there as the guy that broke into the police station.
That's insane.
In front of the cops, and almost got away with it. So maybe he should have an episode with that.
Yeah, I'm shocked that he got into the police station. You know,
he's been arrested so many times.
Right.
But everything was always like small, petty. You know what I'm saying? So it's like come in, get processed, and then you get.
But typically, when you come in, like now they have doors. You have to get buzzed in. You have to get buzzed. Like is he?
He knew the layout. I've never been in that precinct, so I don't know.
Right.
But whatever it is, he did it.
Yeah.
So he knew something.
Yeah. No, I'm not doubting. I'm just saying that
you're thinking of jail. I'm saying precinct. Just where the cops
I know.
park their cars. And
I've been in precincts.
Okay.
I mean, typically what happens is there's a guard at the front. And so even if you're a guard or even if you're a police, you walk in, you go to the side door and they'll buzz you in or they'll have a code. Now, he may have walked in with someone else.
Possibly, yeah.
Whatever it was, he somehow or another got through that door. And then sometimes they'll have internal doors.
Yeah.
And like if you get on the elevator and you get up, like the ones I've been in, you get in there, you hit the button, there's usually a code or a card
to scan
to go up to the floors. Like, because when I've been...
This is New York City. We don't have that kind of technology, I promise you.
I was going to say, because like I part of my story is where I was taken into the police station and I actually was in there waiting for the cop and I saw my wanted poster and people were like, bro, why didn't you take off? And I'm like, because it was 3 doors to get buzzed in. Like you're
already in.
Even if I ran in down the hall to the elevator and hit the button, like I'm not going down. Like I'm not leaving in this elevator unless I have a card or whatever code, or even if I got there, I'm not walking out of the police station. There's another guy that's got to buzz a door. Now maybe you could walk out, but to get in, these guys are buzzing doors, hitting buttons. So when people are like, why didn't you run? I was like, I don't think I can get out of here.
Yeah.
And now it definitely looks bad.
Right.
Now I take off. So I just stood there. I just had to stand there. Okay. He's like, yeah, let's get going. Yeah, let's do that. And he walked me out.
Holy shit.
So that's why I'm saying, like, to get in, he must. But then again, New York, there's so many cops going in and out all the time. They may not have that level of scrutiny. Why? There's fucking 180 cops in this fucking place at any given time.
Oh, way more.
Right.
Way more than 180 in a precinct.
Yeah,
especially in Brooklyn, that over there.
I'm curious what he was going to do. What was he going to do once he got all the info?
I would say I probably because I did speak to him. He's not that bright.
Right. You think he probably didn't have much of a plan at all?
Right. I think he just did it for throws. Because you could get this off of you get a uniform.
Yeah.
And all it is a blue shirt with a patch. At the end of the day, that's what it is. You can get the patch somewhere on Amazon.
Yeah.
And get it just knitted in. If you really wanted to avoid the cops.
Do cops wear in New York, do they have like bulletproof vests and shit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he get the vest or you just know he got the uniform? You don't know.
I don't know. I'll show you the picture when I'll show you the picture on when we're done with this.
Because I was still thinking he could probably go shake down drug dealers, walk up to him as a cop, boom, up against the wall, and then take whatever he wanted and walk away. What are they going to do?
I would say that I'd love to see him try.
Like, because he's about 40 weighing.
Right, yeah, exactly. Because you need to have a little presence when you say, "Hey, back the fuck up! Put your hands up against the wall right now." If you can't do that and have that kind of presence, especially in a drug dealer guy, they're not just going to comply very easy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. A bank fraudster might, but not the guys who's out moving kilos.
Yeah,
they're gonna.
I wasn't even thinking kilos. I was thinking local guys selling rocks on the corner.
Even those guys, they're not going to comply that easy.
Probably just run. Yeah, you're gonna outrun me.
Yeah, and those guys have guns all around the place, whether not on their person, but that car that appears parked, that's where the guns are at.
Because you imagine being shot as a police officer, You get shot at. You're faking being a police officer, and you get shot as a police officer. You're like, I'm actually just a drug dealer, like you, or a drug addict.
Right. Yeah.
So
unbelievable. You talk about drug dealers and stuff. Now, I met one guy that I was absolutely fascinated by. I'm not going to mention his name because I know he pulled it off. He just didn't collect the money yet.
Okay.
This guy, 50 years old. I come up to him. I'm watching. I'm in the dorms. Just talk. He comes up to me. Now, this guy's scary. Look, he's the only guy out of the hundreds of guys that I've seen that I was like, holy shit, this guy's scary. He barely talks to anyone, minds his business. He's becoming like a lawyer and studying his own case. And he's like, yo, G, can I talk to you? I was like, sure. I got nowhere to go. I got to be here for 8 hours.
Right.
You want to tell me your story for 8 hours? I'll listen. He's like, I just need your patience right here. Listen to my case and tell me how you would vote as a juror. I said, sure, no problem. He said, because I'm 50 years old, either I'm gonna die here in jail, or I'm gonna be a multimillionaire. I'm like,
okay.
Now my antennas are raised to because I want to hear this. So he starts breaking it down. First of all, this guy allegedly, rumor has it that he kidnaps drug dealers' kids, holds a ransom, knowing that they can't run to the cops.
Right.
So just to give you an idea of the caliber of type of person he is. I mean, he walks anywhere in the housing area, people make room. They don't want to even touch his shoulder. Because I think that he's one of those guys that could kill you with bare hands, like real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts showing me all the paperwork on he's there on a murder charge and how the detectives messed up the paperwork. And he asked me how, like, oh, well, it's impossible for me to be at this angle and there. I said, yeah, because you're a human. You cannot be at both spots at the same time. How the cops messed up the report that bad? And he was facing 25 to life, and the prosecutors knew that the paperwork didn't, there's enough reasonable doubt.
Indiscrepancies in the paperwork, yeah.
Right. To create reasonable doubt, they knew. So they started offering him. He was there already at that point for 5 years. So they're like, okay, how about you just take a plea deal and take down 15 or 17. And the plea deals started getting lesser and lesser. Matt, when I met him, they had offered him, admit to it and we'll let you go right now.
Time
served. He says no. Because if he admits to it, if he accepts the time served,
he can't sue.
Exactly. He can't get it for false imprisonment and everything. And New York is just under, at that time, I'm pretty sure the price has gone up. For false imprisonment, it was just under $800 a day.
Jeez.
Yeah. So this was the ultimate gamble for him. And he won.
He won.
They
eventually dropped the charges, or he went to trial and won?
Not sure of one or the other. Somehow he made it out.
Okay.
Because you're not walking out of there on a murder charge.
Yeah, they'll still take you to trial.
Right.
Even if they know they're going to lose.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. So I just don't know. I can't tell you if he actually took it to trial, or did they just say, oh my God, we're going to embarrass ourselves.
Just drop the charges.
Just drops it, let him go now. That's a possibility. I just don't know if that's the exact one. Either way, he's out. That guy is out.
Mm-hmm. I would think they would take him to trial, even if they lost, because then they can still try and, I don't know if they can't really appeal it, because once you lose, it depends. Anyway, there's a chance they might win. But go ahead. So, okay. So but you don't know if he got paid?
Well, we know that when the collecting then, that's going to take years and years and years.
Yeah.
And so I think it was like late 2021 or early 2022, he was released. And when I saw his thing, I was like, oh shit, the motherfucker did it. He pulled it off. Holy cow. And he asked me, how would I vote? I said, because the law says guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
I said, as a juror, I would vote. I would say, no, not guilty. But I told him, I still think you did it.
Right.
No, I told him straight out.
Yeah.
Even though I was shitting in my pants. But I still think you did it. If you didn't do it, you were part of the team.
Right.
Something. But legally, from a legal standpoint, the way the law is written, you're not guilty by reasonable doubt. But, beyond a reasonable doubt, you're not guilty. But I do believe you did it. So like I say, whenever you meet your maker, if you are religious, you're going to have to answer that one. You were involved somehow, whether you were the trigger guy or the guy who distracted the driver or whatever. You're involved, but not guilty, and he beat it. Yeah, we'll talk about this guy. I'm sure the drug addicts over there. How they deal with the drug addicts when you were there?
In Coleman?
Oh,
I was in Coleman.
Okay.
The name of the prison. I was in. Right. Sorry, at Coleman. How they deal with them? What do you mean?
I mean, like let's say the hardcore addicts that are going off it. Because I would talk to some of these guys. I was always fascinated by some of the guys because obviously we all knew drug addicts and stuff, but just to have to see one and then just hear how their lives go, I'm like, whoa, this is wild. Like, so I'm like, how much does it cost? So I don't know anything about the H drug.
Right.
I really don't. I've heard of it. If you put it in front of me, I wouldn't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how much does it cost? And like, how much does it cost a day to maintain your habit that you need? This fat white guy with a big beard, he's like, $300 a day. I said, whoa, $300 a day habit? That's a lot. If you mind, how do you
afford $300 a day?
Yeah. Maybe the ADW can afford it.
Right.
Yeah. But there's 99.9% of the public cannot.
Right.
Like, how are you getting this? He's like, he breaks into cemeteries. So what? He goes to the mausoleum and he swears on it. Now, he wasn't in there for these charges.
Right.
And because he was in there for robbing a deli, a bodega. But I said, how do you get $300 a day and stealing shit? $300, that's a lot. He says he could go into the cemetery, bare hands, no tools, by himself. Go to the mausoleum. I always struggle to say the name Mausoleum. Am I saying it correctly? Yeah. Rip out the door, either for the copper or the metal, and sell the weight. He could do that in a minute and 20 seconds. He was swearing to it.
Okay.
And that's how he supplied, and he'd get whatever X amount of dollars for depending on the size and the weight of it. And that's how he supported his drug habit. $300 a day.
Okay.
I was like, you don't think the cops somehow pieced this together that there's some kind of serial mausoleum door stealer somewhere? He says no, because he would just go to different cemeteries all over the place.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sit on a cemetery mausoleum, all of the cemetery mausoleums for a month straight to try and catch them? Like, what do they care?
Right. Exactly.
They got
that was exactly his attitude. What are they going to do?
That's the cemetery's problem.
Force to create a task force to catch the door stealer.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm like, look, listen, man, salute to you. You're definitely creative.
What was it? What was the metal?
Either copper or like whatever it's made out of. Like he'd go out there and just sell it. Like go to the places that.
Like, is there a market for this? I mean, there's
apparently.
Do you remember the Ford? I want to say that they were Ford F-150s or 250s or 350, whatever. The back, so they had, I don't think they do this anymore, but the tailgate.
Yeah.
You could drop the tailgate. So you can just go up to the one right now, your next door neighbors, boom, take it down, twist two little things and pull off the tailgate. The tailgates are like $400. So there are guys that they're just driving around, stealing stealing them, throwing them in the back, and then they'd go and they'd sell them to junkyards or whatever for $1.50.
Yeah.
And so think about it, you could go get 10 of them. Like that's $1,500 a night. I mean, what was that taking?
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing with the
Cadillac converters.
Exactly. It's taking these guys 30 seconds, 30. You know what I'm saying? And they're doing 5-6 of them a night.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good business if that's something that you want to get into. I mean, not me.
Get shot. Yeah. To me, I'd be in Florida.
But over here, like let's say where we're at right now, you're going to get caught. Yeah. But where I'm at in New York City,
there's so much going on. Nobody would even notice that.
They're like, oh, it's just a car theft. Who cares?
Oh, no.
No, I'm saying yes. That's how people are looking at it. The person that's been violated cares.
No, in Florida, the cops will show up and hold the guy down while you shoot him. Like the sheriffs aren't playing. They're ready. The sheriffs are telling you, come get gun lessons, shoot these guys, drag them back into your fucking houses.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah, you're good. We'll mess up the paperwork for you. Don't worry about it.
We'll tell him we got there. He'd shot the guy. It looked like a clean shoot. He was in the house. He was in the front yard as long as you're still on the property.
Yeah. It's very different in New York City.
That's ridiculous.
They'll catch you 15 times doing that. I have a lot of NYPD friends, and they get so frustrated. Even with gun charges, they're being released. They take it to the precinct, book them. run the fingerprints and everything. Okay, just show up to court, whatever date.
Listen, I got a buddy right now who's locked up. Zach, he's been locked up how many months now? Probably 4 months, 3-4 months.
Yeah, 4 months.
Yeah, about 4 months. He's been locked up right now on a charge that.
What's the charge?
They're like, I'm assuming he had someone's ID and he'd gotten credit cards in their names or used their credit card information. He had like a fake ID, like literally it's like a fake ID and a couple credit cards, and he's still locked up. He's not getting bond.
Oh, in New York City, you definitely would have been bond right there.
No, his bond, he does have bond. That's not true. He has bond. It's $180,000 bond, which means you got to put down about close to 20 grand to get him out. And by the way, even then they're like, don't do it because you have a hold in another county.
Another county, so it's just wasting money.
Yeah. So you're just going to sit there and they'll let him sit. He's had another charge a couple of years ago. What was the other charge he had done? Eventually they dropped it, but they kept him in jail 14 months. 14 months.
Wow.
On a state charge in the county jail.
That's unbelievable.
I sent him money the whole time he was locked up. I mean, it's just, listen, these guys, they'll lock you up and you hear these guys, you're like, you got locked up for like vagrancy for 90 days.
What the fuck is that? What charge is that? What's that?
Oh, in what county is it?
What the hell is
Polk?
that?
Is it Polk?
Vagrancy?
Yeah, Polka's.
Polk County. It's
What is that? What does that mean?
Vagrancy?
I never heard of it.
You're basically you're homeless. You're not allowed. It's illegal to be homeless.
You can't sleep on the
Park bench. Yeah, you can't.
Cannot.
No, of course not. No.
What do you mean, of course, I know.
It's against the law. It's against the law.
not against the law. Nothing's against the law.
Absolutely. I mean, go drive through Tampa and look at how many homeless people are. There's maybe, you could probably round them all up in a day. Maybe you'd get 40. There's a little camp underneath one overpass, and where they don't have tents or anything because they're not going to let you put up a fucking tent. Right. You might for the day or something till they come and grab your tent. They'll just tear it up or take it away, or tell you grab your shit and start walking. But there's only maybe a camp or two of 10 or 20 people out of all of. There's probably 40 or 50 people at max downstairs. Maybe 60. Maybe 60 throughout all of downtown Tampa that are homeless. But if a cop pulls up, they're bolting. Like they're standing up and they're walking. Like they're never going to be laying down. Because if you're caught laying on a bench or sleeping on a bench or something, they'll either tell you to move or they could lock you up.
Jesus.
In Polk, it's a charge. Like you can get a charge for it. You can get a charge for it.
Come to New York City.
No, it's horrible. And I've been to San Francisco, LA. It's insane. You've got guys peeing and pissing in the street in front of everybody. Here they'll lock you up and charge you, and you'll be registered as a sex offender. You pull your shit out and take a piss on the side of the road.
What?
Boom, you're done. You're a sex offender. You're registering. What if my kids saw that?
No, I mean I get it.
Yeah.
I get the logic. Look, just remember where I'm from, New York City, very liberal.
Haven't you ever seen the so there's a I almost said CO. There's a sheriff. He did a press conference. And so one is Grady Judd. Grady Judd's famous press conference. And by the way, Grady Judd gets elected every 2 or 3 years he runs. Mm-hmm. I mean, 80%, 90% a positive rating, like just gets arrested. He's harsh. But I like him. So he's a kind of he's a CO. He's a kind of guy that shows up at your door that you want to show up. He's not real particular. If you're a citizen,
right.
If you're a criminal, you hate his guts. But Grady Judd's famous thing is he did a press conference, and there had been what was the issue again? The guy had shot a cop.
Someone had shot a cop.
Somebody shot a cop.
He was like on the run, and they were trying to find him.
And he escapes into into like a trailer, and they find him in the trailer. The cops fired into the trailer. Is it or they fired at him?
They fired at him.
Was it 100 times?
It was excessive, whatever it was.
So let's say that. So he's at a press conference talking about the shooting. Mm-hmm. We tracked him down to this trailer, whatever. He was in the trailer. He shot at the police officers from inside the trailer, whatever. And we fired and killed him. And there was a liberal reporter who said, "Why did your officers fire into the trailer 120 times?" And he said, "Because they ran out of bullets."
Yeah, I remember.
He said,
I did hear that.
He goes,
I've seen
evil can't be dead enough. You fire at a police officer, he goes, "We will kill you." There's another chair.
You can't be dead enough.
You can't be dead enough. Evil can't be dead enough.
Okay.
If you fire. So
all right.
The other thing is there's another press conference from a sheriff
there's dozens of them. The other one was there. He did a press conference. He said, "Listen, we found a guy who's been arrested for burglary like 6 times, been incarcerated in the prison system 2 or 3 times. We found him dead in the street. We believe he broke into someone's house, and they fired at him, shot him, and he escaped off their property and died in the street. So we believe he was burglarizing someone's house, and the person shot him and killed him."
Right.
He said, "We're asking that person to come forward." He goes, "You are not in trouble." And I don't know what county it was. Let's say it was Hillsborough County. He goes, Hillsborough.
Turn yourself in, but you won't get in trouble.
No. I guarantee you they won't.
Yeah.
They said, "You will not get in trouble." He said, "We encourage our citizens to shoot burglars that are breaking into their house." He said, "We encourage you. You are not in trouble." He said, "What we'd like to do is give you free gun lessons, because we would have preferred you kill him in the house. You apparently shot him and he got away. We'd like to give you shooting lessons for free." He said, "We do it every week. We give free shooting lessons at the sheriff's." He has a whole thing, because the guy's been arrested 6 times for fucking burglary. We know this.
They got the right guy, yeah.
Right. Well, we know what happened. Yeah. He's like, "But, he got away. He's like, trust me, in this county, we prefer you to shoot anybody on your property that's breaking in." He said, "But, you didn't kill him. He stumbled away. You got to kill him right away."
Yeah, learn how to shoot.
Yeah. So these
Turn
guys, these sheriffs, they come out and they do these press conferences that are just, there's an Uber driver that got mugged by a guy in the car, and then got out of the car, and the Uber driver pulled his gun, chased him down, and killed him. They're like, "Why is he?" They're like,
chased him down,
and killed him. So the reporter's like, "Why is he not under arrest?" He's like, "Because he was robbed." And they're like, "Yeah, but he wasn't in danger." He's like, "Well, the guy had a gun, and he chased him down to recuperate his property. And the man still had a gun, and so he fired on him."
Okay.
And he's like, now in New York, that would be absolutely a no-no. You're not in danger anymore. Let him take your stuff. Here, you don't get to take my stuff.
I'll explain to you the way it works in New York.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's
even
insanity.
For us. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
If you're a citizen, if you're a good citizen, it's great.
Even for us as officers, and again, remember I told you the academy was like 6 months long, the gun training and the gun laws, and I'm explaining this to you. You cannot shoot someone legally in New York unless you totally ran out of options. So me and you are on the train. You pull a gun on me, I have my gun on me. You're about to beat me up. I have to be able to run first.
No.
Yeah.
I hear you. I understand that's New York. I get it.
And I'm explaining.
There's stand your ground here. I don't have to do shit.
Exactly. So there is no stand your ground in New York. You have to run out of options. So I would have to run all the way to the corner of this room, not have a window, not have a door to exit out of, and say, "Don't take another step or I'm going to shoot." There has to be so many steps ahead. Otherwise, my man, you're going in.
That's ridiculous.
In New York, even for us.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, it feels like another country, another world right now with the way you're describing some of the stuff that I did not know.
I tell you what, though.
What?
People are very polite to officers here. Like, I see some of the people in these videos, like on TikTok and shit, where the guys are mouthing off to the cops and arguing, and I'm not getting out of the car, and the fuck, I can say what I want. It's like, listen, a cop shows up here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What do you need, officer? I am extremely polite to officers here, because it can go bad for you very easily.
Very easily, yep.
Yeah, so to me, I'm super respectful. But if he said, "I want to search your vehicle," of course you did. Of course you want to search it. I don't know why I didn't offer, officer. Let me get out. I'll cuff myself. Can I sit on the stoop here? Where would you like me to wait? I'm extremely, but
yeah, no,
if you're a normal, but if you're a normal citizen, Grady Judd's the guy you want showing up.
Right.
Because he's going to be cool with, you're the citizen, and what did that guy do that's on your property? Or what did that guy do to you and you called me? If you're the guy that called, things are probably going to go your way.
Yeah.
They're going to give if you're the person causing the problem, you got a fucking problem,
Yeah. Wow. I don't like that there's different laws, like let's say 2 different worlds between how Florida and New York. We're in America. We should all have one law.
I know,
but I just don't like
problem
this
is your
separation.
values are different, and that's the whole thing. That's why you have states and districts and federal, and and so I get what you're saying. I would love it. Look, the priorities of someone in California are vastly different than my priorities. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I get it. It just
so I and I don't like there in some ways I think if you're homeless. Like sleeping on a park bench. In some ways, I think to myself, like, "Come on, bro, the guy's just sleeping. He's a drug addict. He's got issues." In some ways, I think, "Come on, you can't arrest him." But then in other ways, I think, "But if you let him sleep here, then before you know it, it turns into a dozen. Then it's 2 dozen.
Yeah.
Then it's 100. Then it's thousands." And you have to raise your kids here. Like I have to raise my children here. People have to raise their kids here. And I don't want to see guys shooting up, sleeping on park benches when my kids play in the
quality
park.
of life. Yeah.
Right. So you go, okay, well, what do you do? Well, then you back to the Grady Judd. Then we make it illegal. We make it so difficult here for you. You either clean your act up or you go sleep in the fucking woods where nobody can see you. And there are communities out in the woods.
Woods.
Oh yeah, they sleep in the woods. There's tent cities.
Yeah, there was this place I worked at before we started doing this, like kind of out
Woods?
like
Yeah, but you can sleep in the woods here. You can because you don't have woods really in
Right,
well,
I'm just
upstate
thinking,
New York.
but-
You do, but you'd freeze to death. Yeah,
Wait a second.
it's
So
camping. It's camping.
I guess, yeah, dude. This is another world to me. The way you guys describe it. So it's illegal to sleep on a park bench, but they say go whatever 100 feet into the woods and sleep there.
I don't have to see you there, and my kids don't see you there. I don't want to have to see you there. I don't want to have to see you sleeping on the park bench. If you're paying $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year into taxes, I don't want to have to see guys shooting up in the alleyway or sleeping or getting drunk or pissing, pulling their shit out and taking a piss.
Yeah,
I
get the logic.
I don't want my kids seeing it.
I get the logic, but
go in the woods.
It's just I guess the way the rules are being applied, that this is another world.
Right.
I keep saying it. Jeez, very different.
There's probably a mix. There's probably there's probably no good solution. In general, there's no good solution. Let's face it. Like if you have mental health, like most of these guys have mental health issues,
Without
right?
doubt.
So there's not going to be a good solution for these guys in the end. And they're the drugs. Oh, they're drug addicts. Yeah, but they're drug addicts. It's more than just addiction. It's mental. There's mental issues, and the drug addiction is just a symptom of their problem. Their real problem is mental issue. And if you'd ever surveyed people to steal their identities, you would know this. So I've dealt with.
I wish I was smart enough.
Yeah, I've dealt with.
My intelligence level is at a correctional officer.
I've dealt with dozens and dozens of these guys. It's not that easy. You realize after by question number 10, you start to realize like. Oh, you're not all there.
Right.
You're perfect. You're never cleaning your act up. Like I'm gonna be able to borrow millions in your name.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
the
figure
clever
this
guys
out.
I always gravitate towards too. The guys who just think outside the box. There was a guy that I met. He eventually lost it. He lost his
case.
Not his case, but his argument. So you know how they say you have a right to a jury of your peers. Mm-hmm. He was challenging that.
You don't want a jury of peers, or he couldn't find a jury of peers.
No,
didn't exist.
No, his logic, which is whoever you put up there is not a jury of my peer. I don't care who it is. Whether it's my age group, my skin color, my religion, where I went to school, whatever it is, they're not my peers. And
why?
Like, well, why not? He says, a jury of my peers, if they can't talk their way out of jury duty, they're not my peer.
That's so stupid.
I get the logic.
But
I get the logic.
Some people want to be on jury duty.
I get it, but then you're not my peer.
That's okay. That's just silly. That you're asking for a perfect equivalent. That's not going to happen.
I agree, but
peer is not perfect equivalent.
I agree. I love the way again the lawyer talk.
All right. I was going to say I was on federal probation, right, and I got a jury duty summons. I was thrilled. I thought, how cool! Like, what a great story this is going to be.
Yeah.
If I go down there, but they did. When I called them, I said, "Look, I want to serve. And they were like, okay, my name is Matt Cox. Okay. They're like, okay, so what does it say? And I was like, well, here's the problem is that, I am on federal probation and I have a felony. So they go, yeah, you don't have to show up. I said, no, I want to show up. They said, no, you can't show up. Do not show up. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I wanted to show up.
You want to show up for what? What do they pay you? $15 a day?
It's not the $15 a day.
I figured you don't need the money.
No, it would just have been like to go through the process to be sitting on a jury and for once be sitting on a jury and listen to the whole thing and think to myself, like, is that fair? Like what if it was a criminal case and they're putting people up there that are some guy who was locked up in jail with the guy and I'd be like, I don't really know if I'd believe this guy. Right. This guy will say anything.
Yeah, of course.
And so their main witnesses are 3 guys that say they were in a cell and he admitted to the murder. Like, come on, you guys. Really? Like, is he really going to admit to the murder?
Of course
not. So I wanted to be able to go through that. And now, look, it's different. It's like, look, we got videotape. We've got cell. Like, look, he's done. He did it. Absolutely.
Right.
But give me something more than some guy's word or an eyewitness. Because, by the way, an eyewitness, worst witness against you. Eyewitnesses, they're extremely unreliable.
Absolutely.
So, but people,
and we're all guilty.
Oh, he saw it. He saw him. You don't know what he saw. I saw 2 guys one time when I was about 19 years old. I saw 2 black guys break into a car. When I got out of my car, I yelled, "Hey, is that your car?" One guy looked at me and goes, "Yeah." I said, "No, that's not your fucking car, bro." I started walking towards him like an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm 19. I'm jacked up on steroids. I'm squatting 405. I'm benching 315.
You were
I was massive when I was like 19 years old.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah. Oh, I was like 200 pounds and pumped full of steroids. I was massive. So started walking towards him like I don't know what I was going to do. He was still, there were still 2 black guys that were probably. Here's the problem. I want to say 5'10", 5'11", but they could have been both 6'2". They could have both been 5'8". They were just a little bit taller than me. Yeah. I didn't get close to them because they both bolted. When they saw me coming, they bolted.
And that was here in Florida?
Here in Florida.
Okay. At
the mall, back when you had malls and you went to malls. I was 15 feet away from the closest guy. I go inside. I call the police because there was no cell phones then. We had pagers. Yeah. Call the police. The police show up.
The same age group.
Yeah. Police show up. I tell them what happened. As we're there waiting, the owner of the vehicle comes and sees what happens.
Yeah.
They take my account, their account, and when the guy that was taking, the cop that was taking the report, he said, "Do you know what they look like?" And I was like, they were maybe roughly 5'10", each one of them, thin, black guys. And he goes, "Could you pick them out of a lineup?" And I went, "No." And he goes, "What?" He said, "Well, what else? Any other characteristics?" I said, "They were black guys." And he goes,
"You need more than that."
He goes, "Anything distinctive about them?" I said, "Honestly, bro," I said, "you could have been one of them. No offense."
Yeah.
I said, "You could." I said, I don't know." He was like, and he was like, "Well, you were," and we were standing where I was. He's like, "You were right here." And I was like, I couldn't tell you what they looked like. Right. Like my adrenaline spiked. They stood up. They looked at me. I said, he's like, "How old were they?" I was like, "You got the good skin, bro." They could have been, they could have been 15 years old. They could have been 35 years old. I mean, that's the span for a black guy on what their age is 20 years. Right. Unless they have gray hair and they're bald, then I would say in his 50s. Yeah. But they both had a full head of, they had the crop cut haircut. I was like, I don't know.
Right.
So, and I looked like if you'd line them up, I'd have been like, I fucking don't know. But from an adrenaline witness perspective, I know how difficult it is. And look, those 2 guys could have been white guys.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have told. Same thing. I would have been like, I don't fucking know. My adrenaline spiked. I saw him for a second. They looked up. Oh, yeah. The one guy I was focusing on. The other guy, I don't know. I could never tell you what that guy looked like. This guy was, whatever. Like if he was been looking right at me, maybe I could. I don't think I could have. But if you said, "Are you 100% sure?" I would have had to say no. And so, can you imagine if you were on trial for your life for murder, and you have some guy that saw you from 40 feet away for 2 seconds, and the jury is relying on that guy to say you were the guy at the crime scene holding the gun.
Yeah.
Unless he knew you prior, the only way
if you're a total stranger, then throw it out the window.
Correct, total stranger.
Yeah.
Now it's different if no, that's my buddy Jimmy. I see
that's
him
different. That's not the same.
Totally different. But that's what the problem is. That's what happens is a jury gets there and you've got some guy that says, yeah, that was him. You saw him from 40 feet away for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
This guy's going to
And you're going to remember his face 18 months from now at trial?
Right.
I don't think so.
You're 100% sure. Oh, no, absolutely 100%
Bullshit.
sure.
Yeah,
no,
he's lying.
No, you're not. You're lying. That's not true. How many victims who clearly spent a significant amount of time with the rapist say, oh, no, absolutely, that's him. And then 5 years later, 10 years after the guy's gone to prison, they get the DNA back, not him. And then they're like, oh, God. And then they catch the real guy. And then he says, oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, she's one of my victims. What about this other guy that did 10 years? Yeah. You went to trial. You looked him in the face. You said 100%.
Right.
And that happens all the time.
Absolutely.
How many of those guys do 15, 20 years?
And their life is ruined. I don't care how much money you give them because everyone's going to look at them like somehow you managed to be your and you beat the charges.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you can never get that back.
So I just thought it would be cool to go and sit on a jury as a felon, having gone through, not that I have any bias, but by being able to say, I know the system inside and out, and I'm
the non-lawyer.
I'm lying. I'm sorry, lying. I'm dying to see how this plays out with my, probably, I like to say non-bias, but with my understanding of how the system is manipulated.
If people really understood the law and followed it to the T, we would barely get any convictions.
Oh, absolutely. Look, if people stopped, I love these guys who are always like, you shouldn't snitch. If you didn't have snitches, 95% of the cases wouldn't be solved. You wouldn't survive. You wouldn't want to live in that society, and you couldn't survive in that society.
Yeah.
Because people could just walk in and kick in your fucking door and rob you and do whatever, and guys aren't rolling over on each other, and guys aren't snitching each other out, and it'd be complete pandemonium.
Totally agreed. Very, very few cases are ever solved based on superb police work and nobody snitching. No. Very few cases are ever solved like that.
No.
Very few.
Maybe with DNA, but that's very few.
Yeah, but that's
DNA,
because you can work around that.
Yeah.
To not leave DNA.
Yeah.
If you're a smart criminal.
It's a horrible system.
Yeah. What was it? Did you say something like nothing's perfect, or what was it?
Yeah, there's no perfect solution.
Yeah, there you go. There's no perfect solution to anything. You know what I'm saying? Is our system flawed? Yes. Does it make errors? Absolutely. But I don't have a solution.
No.
I'm not bright enough for that. But
no, you're just trying to get your reasonable compensation for a, I don't want to say it's not an illegal act. It's a violation of your civil rights,
which makes it illegal.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
maybe
civilly.
I don't know how to say.
Look, I'm not
civilly.
Civilly.
Nobody's trying. You don't want anybody to go to jail. I just want to just pay me what I'm owed.
That's it. Yeah, just give me the money. It's only money, Matt.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's all it is. I'm not looking to take your freedom, yours, or anybody. It's just money. We're giving it away to other countries anyway.
Right.
And
that's not an argument. Right. Don't use that argument.
No, but I'm just saying. And I just want what's rightfully mine. I don't want a penny more. I'm not looking for charity.
Right. Because had they not made that decision to cut you loose, you'd still be working there.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I want to go back.
Right.
I want to.
Aren't they trying? Listen, I talked to a guy the other day that contacted me, and there's some commission that he's a part of that's trying to close Rikers Island.
They've been trying to do that for forever. I mean, put it this way: for a developer, if like you have like these billions of dollars, it's actually beautiful land.
Yeah.
You get a clear, crisp look of the Manhattan skyline, the New York City skyline, and LaGuardia Airport is literally one baseball throw away from there.
Is it loud though? Aren't the planes going over you?
They're going all over New York City.
Oh,
I mean Manhattan from there, from Rikers Island. If you're a bird, from thing.
Yeah.
It's what 2-3 miles.
All right. So they have to bulldoze they have to drop the prison and build
It's not. It's actually so many buildings. I don't even know how many. I'd only be guessing, but there are dozens of buildings all over the island.
So they bulldoze all of them and turn it into
knock out bulldoze.
Condos.
Exactly, high rise, and I could see that happening at some point because some developers are just going to pay off the politicians and say, do something because the land is just too beautiful and it's being wasted on a jail. Yeah.
Criminals.
Yeah.
These
And
inmates.
infrastructure is horrible.
It wasn't built well.
No. I mean, maybe it was built well when it was built, but like anything else, it needs to be maintained and stuff, and it is terrible. It really is. It's almost ancient.
Did you ever see the movie Carlito's Way?
Yeah, many times.
He escapes Rikers. The one guy escapes Rikers.
Okay, look.
Can you escape? I'm looking at a picture of it right now. Yeah,
Right.
it was literally an island with one bridge, long bridge coming in.
The
No,
only
but
way
the-
you could do it, the only way, you have to be beyond wealthy. And you have to find an array of officers all willing to give up their pensions. Like I say, give everybody $1 million in cash.
Right.
So like the housing area officer, the officers as you're leaving, the housing area officer. It's a movie. Just do remember that. Yeah.
Wait, listen, in the movie Carlito's Way, there's a corrupt lawyer, and he's got a client who's a mobster, and the mobster has paid off a guard. We know at least one guard, but it's got to be several.
Yeah.
And then they get him in the water, and he swims to a buoy, and he needs his lawyer, who's already stolen over $1 million from him.
In the 70s.
In the 70s. Yeah. He's going to take his boat and meet him at the buoy. So he meets him at the buoy, gets him on the boat, and then he can take him away, and he escapes. So that's supposed to be the plan. But in the movie, the guy does get to the buoy, right? He's a fat mobster, gets to the buoy. The guy takes his boat, meets him there, and then takes, I don't know what kind of a device or a pole or something, and just hits him in the head a bunch of times, basically kills him and drowns him. He's super fat. Drowns him in, what is it, Hudson?
I think it's called the East River.
In the East River. And he drowns him. And then he gets on the boat and he takes the boat back. And because he did steal $1 million. He doesn't want to save this guy.
He actually did do it, yeah.
He feels like he might be murdered. So he kills him in the Hudson. Or East River, sorry.
East River, yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. So anyway, it's a movie. I know it's a movie. Okay, so that's the only way. You'd have to pay off 3 or 4 or 5, 6 guards to
everybody had to be perfectly aligned, but then someone would have to call the alarms, and then the NYPD would be alerted on the surrounding areas. I mean, it's a movie.
Right.
It looks good for Hollywood, but
it's upsetting. Disappointing. Because I can't tell you how many years I spent daydreaming about escaping prior to, when I initially got arrested. I spent a good year dreaming about going to a camp and escaping, or going to a low and escaping, till I actually got to, then they sent me to a medium, and I realized you're not getting out of here. Went to the low, and I thought, you're still not getting out of here. Right. The whole time you're realizing oh no, they got this locked down. They know what the fuck they're doing.
At the end of the day, it's not even worth it. I mean, I guess the factor in age and stuff, but for the extra time that you're going to get for it.
You're going to get 2 or 3 years extra. If you're looking at 30 or 20,
right,
risking 2 or 3 years. If it's a camp in the federal system, if it's a camp and you walk away, you don't get almost any time. You might get a month or 2.
What?
Yeah.
You're incentivized then.
Right. But you have to think, you have to have less than 10 years to go to a camp. So most guys that go to a camp only have a few years. So leaving to be on the run the rest of your life, why wouldn't I just... And by the time they go to a camp, by the way, they've probably already been through the process. They got arrested. They didn't get out on bond. Mm-hmm. So they've already done maybe a year. They get sentenced. They go to a camp for, let's say they get 3 years. You already did a year. Now you go to a camp. You already get good times. You got 18 months to go. Do you escape?
I would say no. I'd say
yeah. It's
a camp. Stay there.
Yeah, it's like a shitty high school.
Yeah. So stay there.
I'm going to hang out here for 18 months. Matter of fact, honestly, 18 months, probably in a year, they're going to send me to a halfway house, and I'm going to do...
That's even worse.
Yeah. And then,
keep me at the camp.
Yeah, they'll put me on an ankle monitor, though, and a lot of times they'll just send you home.
Yeah.
So there's just no reason to.
There was a guy that this kid, I actually felt bad for him. He's Italian from Queens, and he kind of gravitated towards me because I'm Albanian, and he kind of spoke Albanian a little because in the area of Queens that he grew up in, there's a lot of Albanians. So, and he's talking. I was like, "Dude, what are your charges?" He says, "Murder." I'm like, "You're not no murder."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I see he's like really like an innocent type of kid. I was like, "Dude, would you get drunk or high or something? Girlfriend cheated and you killed her? Like what's going on?"
Yeah, something reasonable.
No, but things happen. You always say like, "Oh no, little Johnny, I can't believe he did that." Yeah, well, he walked in.
his girl's getting, banging his best friend. He
Right. And you
happened to have a
snapped.
gun.
That's the only thing that I could think of. And he's like, no, even worse. Worse? What are you talking about? He said he was riding one of those like ATVs, the illegal ones, at least in New York City. I don't know about over here in Florida. He's just out there riding it as a group. And he makes a turn and he ends up hitting a Chinese food delivery guy on a bicycle. The guy was not wearing a helmet. He falls, bangs his head on the floor, and dies.
Vehicular manslaughter.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But because the vehicle was illegal, they're saying since you're driving it, then they're considering that commission of a crime. They charge. Yep, they upcharge him to murder.
Stupid.
No, I agree with you.
Stupid.
No, so then I'm like, okay, that makes sense there with the murder charge. But then now, since we're on the subject of escaping, at that point, I met him when he was at Rikers Island, but he was held in Brooklyn House, which is on a major street, right? Just like a regular building.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't, because this is how much of a non-criminal the guy is. He doesn't realize that those phones are tapped. They're listening to every single word you say. He had no clue. He calls his friends and says, I'm at such and such a location, whatever the street is. I've never been to that building. I'm at the 3rd floor window. I need you to get a bazooka and shoot me out of here.
Fucking idiot. He's just an idiot.
I died laughing. I'm like, dude, you got to be fucking kidding me. You said this on the phone with them listening.
Was he expecting them to go to the bazooka store?
And I said, forget about that. You hang around with people who have access to bazookas?
He doesn't hang around with anybody who's got access.
But
He's
that's
an
what I'm
idiot.
saying.
Yeah.
But he got charged with the fucking, what do you call it? I mean,
Attempted escape?
yeah, or planning this, whatever it is. I'm like,
Conspiracy to...
something along those
Escape,
lines.
something like that,
There's the
yeah.
extra charge on top of the murder. I was like, the murder, you're going to be able to talk it down to...
Yeah, he's going to get a
Manslaughter.
few years. 5 years? 10 years?
Yeah, he was already there for like 2 or 3.
Yeah. In Florida, I think he'd probably get 14 years for vehicular manslaughter first time, unless he'd probably get about that.
And he told his friend on the phone, I don't care if I die, but I need you to shoot me out of there. He was on the 3rd floor, he said, to shoot him out of there.
The drama.
Yeah. Like you really had no idea that someone's listening to this phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupidity.
Get comfortable?
Right.
You're not going in.
Put in for a 2-man cell. Join a softball, a softball team.
Yeah.
Sign up for the HVAC
You're
class.
not going. Yeah. You're not going anywhere. You
Right,
can't snitch on anyone on this one.
Right. Find a good series, a series of books that you like that you can read. Start reading the what is it? The Game of Thrones series.
Yeah.
Like get the first book.
Mm-hmm.
Lord, yeah.
Unbelievable.
J.R. Tolkien. Start reading his stuff. Get into the Hobbits. Like it's going to be a long ride.
Right. So he innocently goes there. Innocently, like to me, he didn't go
It's
try to
just
mean anybody,
stupid.
hurt anyone with the moped or whatever the hell the device is called.
Yeah. ATV. What do you call them?
ATV
Whatever.
or the quads
four-wheelers. We call them four-wheelers.
Whatever it is. He didn't have any kind of intent to go hurt anyone. You know, he's just joyriding with his friends. And then they snitched on him because there's no license plate. It wasn't registered.
Right. Oh, so he took off also? He hit the guy and ran?
Yeah. So the cops were
a
able.
series of bad decisions on his part.
Yeah. And then the cops were figured out that that blue one right there, that's the guy who lives down the street. Oh, put pressure on him, and it wasn't me, it was that guy.
Yeah.
And they got him.
I hear you.
Like we said earlier, it's typically how cases are solved.
Little Jimmy's got to go.
Yeah,
I wasn't on it.
Huh?
I wasn't on it. I wasn't driving it. Jimmy got it.
Right.
Jimmy was driving it.
Yeah, I'm not taking this murder charge.
Yeah. They knock on the door and open the door. You know why we're here? I said, yeah, because Jimmy hit that Chinese dude. That's why you're here. Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. I was going to call you.
At least you're honest about it. Very few people would be as brutally honest as you are. But
I'm not even going downtown for your ass.
what you're saying happens 90% of the time.
Yeah.
When people will come out and lie and say, no, I didn't tell them shit.
I would say 90% of inmates cooperate, but 100% lie about it.
That's a fact. Yeah.
Do you want to call?
For anybody who has any questions out there, feel free to reach out to me on my social media. Don't ask to follow me. No friend requests. Strictly DMs. It's Nick Goichai. It's Nick, N-I-C-K, G like George, O like Orange, J like Jack, C like Charlie, A like Apple, J like Jack. Reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram. I will respond to all DMs or instant messages on Facebook and Instagram.
Tell them we're going to leave the link in the description box.
And Matthew has said he's going to leave the link in the description box as well.
Right, exactly.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Hey, you guys, I appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos just like this. We're going to leave all of Nick G's links in the description box so you can click on that, not get accepted as a friend, but you can DM him and he will respond. Also, please consider joining our Patreon. It's $10 a month and it really does help Colby and I make videos just like this. Thank you very much. See ya.